Welcome to the window to our minds, number 25, Violence in Media. How are you, Charles?
I'm the visitor. Why'd you go to me first?
Because you're the visitor.
Because you're the visitor. You're the guest, man. We're trying to be, nice to you. How you doing?
I'm okay, thank you.
I'm glad to hear that. What about you, DC? How are you?
I wish I can be like Charles and be doing great. Unfortunately, in case anyone's wondering, no, I'm not doing the best, but I'm just hanging in there. But yeah,
That's fine, man. Like I hope,
Okay.
I hope things will get better, And again, if you want to talk about it after the stream and such, I'm always open for it, man. Because I care a lot about you. I hope you do.
Yep.
If you didn't know, well, I tell you now. I care a lot about you.
yeah.
What about you, Gray? How are you today?
I'm doing good, but I also wish I were like Charles, It just seems like a good life to live. What can I say? Things are good. Violence. Let's talk about it. How you doing, Multi?
I'm doing great. Outside of what we talked about backstage, I'm doing great.
Wow.
So yeah, I like that comment. Yeah, please do, St. Patrick.
Why did it come up like 5 times? What was that?
I have no
That's it.
idea.
You were commenting on everyone's channel right now. It's multi-streaming, so good time. Everyone knows about St. Patrick.
That's not even my right logo, neither. That's the annoying part. Well, it matches my shirt. So, here's the logo for that avatar. That's what that is.
So I will ask before I go deep into the question I created. Marvel, why did you pick that topic? Because you're the one that suggested the topic.
Alright.
So I place you on the spotlight now.
All right. So pretty much, I would just go on Wikipedia, and I was going around Mortal Kombat Wikipedia, because I wanted to learn more
As one
about it. And so, because prior to learning, I actually didn't know Mortal Kombat has actually created some controversies, and it kind of made me realize this is where I think the violence should probably start to start at least getting some debate, because I feel like, I don't know, it's just every time I see the violence, something's too violent, like, I really don't, I'm like, bro, what are you smoking? It's like, in life, the things that are violent in media, like Mortal Kombat, movies, show, Walking Dead, even, it's like those are all those happen in our world, so it's like, and arguably even worse than they are portrayed. So it's like, I just don't get it at times. So that's kind of why I picked. Plus, it'd be nice to involve a little bit of history, and by history I mean like historical events into this, because I feel like most people who do say about violence, it kind of hasn't arguably don't know much about history, I guess. But yeah. Now, obviously, if it's something like my Marvel vs. DC show, that is a little bit different, which I will explain the difference in a bit. But yeah, so that's pretty much why I picked violence. Unless you want me to add more.
Well, if you want to, you can always add more. You got the spotlight right now.
All right, but yeah, like one of the reasons why I would say for my Marvel vs. DC show it's a little different is because, I mean, even I, the creator of this show, even I can get disturbed knowing, yeah, this is a show that's way too far, to a point. It's like, even I will agree that the show goes too far. Like, I remember when I made the first trailer for season 3, and I was actually kind of scared of backlash or controversies. So it's like, yeah, with that show, it's a little bit more understandable. But it's like in Mortal Kombat, I just don't get it. Like, Mortal Kombat violence, so what? Doesn't affect anybody. Violence in movies, or Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. I didn't get the violence in that film either, because it really wasn't that violent. But yeah, those are pretty much why I picked it, and yeah. So yeah.
So you think Kali Ma was not violent, like ripping out someone's heart?
I mean,
they're still beating hard.
Oh, great.
I mean,
Comments.
great. I mean, yeah, it's violent, but it's like when you compare it to the first Indiana Jones, it still had arguably worse violence. Plus, a dude literally got melted. So, what's the difference if a guy gets his heart ripped out and the guy gets his face melted? Do you at least understand where I'm coming from, Gray?
I don't
Sorry,
think
I
he
was not
does.
muted. I just kept talking to myself. Sort of. So, like, I agree with you. The first one's also a little bit violent, I guess, with the face melting, but deserved. But I guess what makes it good violence versus bad violence, in your opinion?
I mean, for me, in media, I think violence kind of makes the film or show a little bit more entertaining. Like that's kind of one of the reasons why I think Mortal Kombat got popular in the first place. And I'm sorry if this is turned into a Mortal Kombat discussion. It's kind of like one of the first things I kind of want to bring up, because most people enjoyed the fatalities that happened in the games, as well as the
Not
violence.
me. So
Wait,
don't
what?
say most people. Not me.
Well,
Maybe
we
it's
generally
an
don't
odd
refer
take,
to you, and
but-
we're talking about most people.
Yeah. But yeah. And same with films and shows as well. Like some films, like okay, South Park is a show I can kind of see getting at least censored in some areas
But that's a
because
cartoon.
of what?
That's a cartoon.
Yeah, obviously, but I mean,
it's media.
It's media. Plus,
Well, I know I'm trying to understand the difference between Mortal Kombat and South Park. Mortal Kombat has realistic violence
Realistic? I doubt it.
listen, I'm not talking
Well,
about
yeah.
the first one from 1990 or whatever.
Yeah, like the original one was somewhat realistic. There was blood. Actually, it's not a bad place to start with media violence, because I know for the console versions of the original Mortal Kombat, like Sega and Super Nintendo, they had to take the blood out. Yeah, I think one of them made it green, and I think the other one just omitted it completely. But I mean, like, it was controversial at the time that this one arcade cabinet could show so much blood, and then there were fatalities, but they're much toned down from what you have now. Like now is like over the top amazing. But,
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
I think if you saw some of the more combat fatalities, like I have, at least for the latest two games, yeah, it's a little, how can we say it? Not incredibly friendly, if that's even a polite way of saying it.
I think that was never friendly, but I don't know how bad it became because I stopped playing after Armageddon. That's the last one I played, and I think it's like the 5th one or the 6th one, and they did maybe 20 of them. So
yeah. But yeah. And Charles, the reason why I brought up South Park and is because South Park is also has violence in media.
Really? Huh.
Oh, yeah.
Well, have you seen South Park?
Not in forever.
Oh,
okay.
I mean, like even some of those first few episodes, they had like like the anal probe looked like that did a lot of violence, and then I don't know if you remember like the running of the cows thing, but like there were a bunch of people like impaling themselves on like broken like street signs and telephone poles and stuff. Because cows were running behind them, not the bulls, just cows. So I don't know, it's there, but it's it's cartoon. It's a much lower level than I don't know. Would you include like social media in the violence in media thing? Because I don't think I've seen so many people die as I have like within the last 2 years on Twitter. Like, my God, I know it's like my algorithm, but dude, every time I open it, I'm seeing something I don't want to see.
Stop opening it. But I would. But to get back to South Park, I've seen many seasons and many episodes of that show because I do think a lot of their social commentaries and critique and satire is very funny, but I can attest this is a very violent show for a cartoon.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the most violent cartoon I could think of.
Yeah.
Hi, Patrick.
Gentlemen.
Welcome.
Hello.
I'm glad to see you.
I'm glad to see me too.
Yeah.
St. Patrick. Welcome, sir.
Amazing panel now. We got two humorists. Is it a comedian? Humorist? Comedian? I consider you a comedian, Patrick. That's why I say that. We got Charles and we got Hugh. Like, it's the dream panel right now.
I'm funny, but I'm not a comedian. That takes work. I don't like that.
I don't know about that.
Well, it takes preparation.
Sure.
So what are we talking about? Violence?
I think you come prepared usually, sir.
Yeah. Violence in media, and we were just we were discussing the violence in South Park, and we also discussed the violence in Mortal Kombat, as the gaming violence as well. Yeah. So like in South Park, there's literally an episode where a character, I'm not gonna mention who, I think
Kenny dies almost every week, and a lot of his deaths are like really violent.
Yeah. But the thing is, I'm not even talking about Kenny. I'm talking about a different character.
This I don't remember, man, because I haven't seen the show in years. But
all right.
Yeah.
All right. So he pretty much essentially hires or pretty much manipulates a guy to essentially kill two people who are also parents, and essentially he takes their corpse and chops them up and turns them into chili. Yeah, that was the thing I was gonna reference, and that's how violent South Park can get. And I apologize if I made any of you now puke. Apologies.
No,
it's a subplot from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good episode too. Scott deserved it. I don't know. Like, I view cartoons a little bit different. Like, even when you go back to like the original cartoons, they were pretty violent. I don't know. Cartoon violence seems to hit a little bit different.
I'm maybe it's actually a category, cartoon violence.
For sure.
It's like a little sub-violence category.
Yeah. But
some people do think it's real. That's
that's why I think we're gonna talk about all that. But yeah. So Multi, if you want to ask, you can ask your lovely questions.
Hell yeah. Except if you guys have more questions for DC, since he had the spotlight for right now.
I don't have any.
No.
Do you see a distinction between, like, so you mentioned like Temple of Doom and then you mentioned like South Park. Do you see a difference between the violence, like if it's actually with real people or if it is with cartoons? Or do you think it's all under the same whatever major category?
Great question, Gray. I actually say it's actually the same category, because you really think about it. South Park and movies and shows are, in a way, are kind of the same thing, even if they have some differences. And so with Indiana Jones is because I just feel with that it kind of gets ridiculous when Raiders of the Lost Ark literally had a guy whose face gets melted, and so it's like. Isn't that arguably just as violent as someone ripping out your heart? It's like, yeah.
Sort of. I mean, he was a Nazi, though, so he kind of deserved it. But the guy with his heart getting ripped out, I don't know if he deserved Kalima.
Kalima.
Well, I mean, there's violence and then there's gore as well. I mean, it's different. Like you could say cartoon violence and everything, but I'm not going to hold South Park's violence up to say like Invincible. You know, Invincible is like that's fucked up shit.
Yeah.
So like,
wait, what's Invincible? Is that a cartoon?
It's the
you haven't
Robert
seen.
Kirkman, same dude who did The Walking Dead, did a superhero one where it's kind of like The Boys but animated. It's good.
It looks like DC's old like Superman, like Batman cartoons almost. A little bit more anime like, but holy shit, if you haven't watched it,
it's very adult.
It's really good.
It's super violent.
This. I prefer this. Yeah, I prefer this over.
I think
the
it's on
Boys.
Prime.
Nice.
I like that a lot more than The Boys, to be honest, and they do very similar things, but yeah, Invincible is wow. And I don't watch that much animation or anime in general. Like, I've seen many when I was younger, but in recent days, that's probably the only new animation style I've really followed up with. And we cover it weekly as well. Tomorrow we will cover an episode, in case you forgot, Gray. But yeah,
it was a based episode.
Yeah, I think that was my
R.I.P.
favorite
Shrink and Ray.
Yeah.
So multi. You're saying you don't even watch Family Guy?
I don't. I've seen many episodes many years ago, but that's as far as it goes. I just don't. But I did. I did in the past.
I almost thought you were.
I like cartoons. Cartoons are great.
Yeah.
I'm more selective.
Art.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, art is art.
Yeah. Anyways, go to the questions.
Okay, except if Gray has more, because Gray has very interesting
sure. My next question. What are the questions?
Okay. Well,
wait, does the Bible count as media?
Yeah,
I would say so.
Fuck.
I mean,
because the Old Testament's pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
That's actually
the world
relevant.
was killed except for 2.
I do think it's media. I think like most of the things men have created are media. I think that's maybe vague, but humor is maybe not humor, because that's more of it. Yeah, I don't know, but like if you bring humor into like a movie or like something like that, that could be media, because you can share it with more people. I think that could be like the biggest thing that defines media, is how many people can share the same experience. Maybe that's crazy. I don't know.
Because, well, if that's the case, then there's been violence in media for quite a while.
Yeah, forever.
Yeah. I guess if that is the case, when would be the least violent period in history?
Never.
I would argue now, but
yeah. I was
actually, well, we still shoot each other somewhere in the world. So
now,
well, Ukraine and
but are we having people just duel randomly? Like, you have offended my honor, sir. I duel. You know,
maybe in some
fist fight and stuff.
In USC, maybe in some place in USC, because they have guns.
Sadly, our dueling laws are out of date now. We definitely had it in the past, but I don't know. That's why I'm thinking like today is one of the least violent times in history, but everybody has a damn, camera in their pocket. So we get different angles of it. And, with social media, you get inundated with just violence if your feed looks like mine. But so I don't know. I think it is simultaneously the least violent, but you also have the most exposure to the violence that is out there. So interesting.
I agree. 100%.
Yeah, in case of era, and to answer your question of eras, Gray, I would say somewhere from 2008 to 2019 is where I'd say it wasn't the most violent, because you almost never heard much violence except 2019, because that was like the worst year of my life. So that's why it has to be
Summer of Love, though.
Yeah.
summer of something.
Anyway, let's get to the questions.
Wait, hold on. I don't want to interrupt you, but I'm gonna. Yeah. I'm missing like a key component, I feel, here in this conversation. Is there have you taken a stance here against any sort of violence in media, or are you just pointing out that there is a tremendous amount of it? Like what
he makes violent media, so he's pro violence in media.
Oh, so,
to answer your question,
please.
The right way is I'm only against people who are saying things are too violent for honestly really bad reasons. Like, for instance, like when we just discussed with Mortal Kombat, South Park, Family Guy, Indiana Jones, Temple
of Bible.
I'm not a religious person, so I have no idea about anything about
literature. Still media.
But like all of that, any violent related media and the controversies around it. Okay, if there's some signs that it was supportive with violent like events I could kind of understand, but some of these literally had nothing to do with them, nothing at all, and it kind of made me realize, yeah, I think this is a good topic to discuss. So if you ask me, I'm not against violence. I think violence help makes a scene look better. I mean, if you ask me what's my favorite part about Mortal Kombat other than the characters is the fatalities.
The romance. My bad.
The bromance, you mean? There's so much bromance, man.
All right. Well, a couple things here. One, you're throwing like a wide timeline net here, because I mean, if we're talking about Mortal Kombat, we're talking about when I was a kid.
35 years or so, yeah.
Yeah, and we're talking about when that was a brand new situation for people. Now, Mortal Kombat would probably be tamed by most standards, kind of like what I was saying with Invincible versus South Park. And again, we're talking Indiana Jones. What's that? 1984.
It's been a while. Yeah.
So
I'm talking about
around there.
Like I remember people having issues with this the same way I remember people protesting at the last Passion of the Christ. But like, I don't see people having as much of an issue with these kind of things today. I mean, is there a community that does that now, that says like this is unacceptable? Because I mean, Mortal Kombat 11 had some controversies. In fact, some of the developers of that game actually had to take some therapy because the constant making like gory scenes was making their mental health go down. It literally says on the Wikipedia page, so that's where I found it. And
they did step up the violence quite a bit in the recent years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those fatalities are over the top awesome. And they involve like the Terminator and stuff. They brought another IP.
Well, that was their thing, though. That was the whole thing. I remember you had an option. You could like make it gory or not, or bloody or not. I can't remember what the exact terminology was. So the natural progression of a game like Mortal Kombat after 30-something years is gonna be more violent. But
isn't it all relative too, though? Like,
I would think so.
DC said that the violence makes Mortal Kombat more entertaining, but like Gray brought up, when we were younger, you could play Street Fighter and just have a one-on-one fighting game, or you can play Mortal Kombat and have a different element added to it. So I think it really, all of it's relative. Like Gray saying that it's right now is the least violent time. I think people in Gaza would probably have something to say about that.
Your mileage may vary depending on your location, but fair enough.
People in my fucking neighborhood might have something different to say.
True. I mean, my door was recently shot. Okay, violence happens, but still, I don't know. Like, it is interesting because it's definitely changed over the years, and it does seem like, things are definitely more acceptable now. Like, I remember them actually banning like Super Nintendo and Sega from being able to display the blood in the original Mortal Kombat when they ported it to cartridge. Yeah. But I don't know. It made the news, and there were actually like congressional hearings on it and shit, where there's nothing like that on the Mortal Kombats today. Like, yes, it's definitely violence, and it's definitely, it is one reason why people are searching that out, and you can find just videos of just the fatalities and everything, and they've definitely gone more extreme with it. But I don't know that it's necessarily having the impact on society that it had before. And then when you're talking about like Indiana Jones and stuff, like, yeah, there is the Kali Ma, he is pulling out somebody's beating heart, and you can see it kind of supposedly beating in his hand. And you can see the dude's face melted. But I mean, there wasn't like what's now referred to as like torture porn. Like, there wasn't the Saw movies. There wasn't Hostel movies. There wasn't Human Centipede. Like, all that stuff. It's acceptable now, but I don't know. I don't see congressional hearings about that type of shit.
I don't think it's acceptable now so much as it's easily accessible.
Yeah, it's certainly not mainstream.
Fair enough.
Right. And Indiana Jones, if you're just talking about the time it was released, you had to go out of your way to see that. You literally had to go to a theater, or you had to, go to a store, get the tape. Like, the internet wasn't nowhere, if at all, nearly as prevalent as it is now, where you can just kind of stumble across some shit. I mean, I can't remember I'm looking for a movie and then there's just porn in my face. And it's like, I just want a movie.
You got to sort your folders.
I want to see the movie.
Yeah. Thanks for the pop-up, but I just want to watch this family movie. Thanks.
But I will maybe hint at something. I feel like we are more sensitive to violence because us as people and individual, we are less violent with each other than we used to. So because of that, when we are exposed to violence, because we are no longer as used to seeing violence, it affects us more than it's used to. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. Am I clear on that, or maybe I hint at something?
I mean,
no, you might be right. Like it might affect us less, like personally in real life. Like I think again with social media, you can see it nonstop if you want to, and you can see violence from all over the world now in just the palm of your hand. But you weren't seeing like actual things. Like there aren't hangings and stuff or like public executions, like shit like that was kind of a gathering of people before. It would be good entertainment. What we're seeing is definitely fake now. So I don't know. I think it would be less real violence, but you still have access to see anything, which is a little concerning.
And yeah,
it is. So except if you guys would like to add more, it's the moment where we ask the 4 question. I guess not. So question number 1: do violence in the media create more violence in the real world? And I will ask this to DC first, because you were so eager to dive deep into the questions.
Yeah.
So DC, what would be your answer to that?
I would say this.
Let me go first.
No, okay.
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
All right. So I will say this: yes and no. My answer is yes and no. The reason why I say yes and no is because yes, in some cases, violence in real life can sometimes happen because, or at least from the influence of violent media. I think the Columbine event, that's like one example, as many sources have said that it was from like songs or ironically Mortal Kombat or all that stuff. So in that case, I can kind of understand, but at the same time, no, because let's be honest, if say we all made a violent show where Indiana Jones rips out, I don't know, let's just say zombie's brain out, and it got controversies, would that all make us murderers? No. And so,
I mean, did we film an actual event? Because it could change it. But no.
It didn't make me a murderer.
We could be accomplices.
Yeah. But it's like, yeah, that's kind of like my point. It's like, in some cases, I can see like violent, like school bad things happening, like school lockdowns or bank robberies, house invasion because of the influence of violent media, then yeah, I would agree. But if it's something like just because a character does something violent in a show and clearly has no impact on anybody, that's where I think the violence kind of gets ridiculous. But yeah. So go on.
Sorry. Why did you bring up Columbine?
Because apparently there was a lot of sources that say that influenced, like some were say some songs or Mortal Kombat. That's what I heard. But
it was pretty heavy in the media after that happened.
Yeah,
I don't know. It is like a real world example of violence that was kind of sensationalized in the media. There have been some people who have linked to Klebold and Harris as the reason why they went about with some sort of horrible event as well.
Right. And
so I don't know. I can see the analogy or whatever, but good question.
They took videos, they were prehistoric vlogging of sorts, and those videos were on YouTube and shit. And there was a pair of kids that emulated the Scream film, and they too did vlogs and gave credit to the Columbine guys. And that's when you're blending fiction and nonfiction, and it's concerning that there, for some people, again, I guess it's all relative. For some people, the line is not there between fiction and nonfiction, which is troubling.
There's the Matrix killer too. You remember that guy?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, he was like full blown obsessed with. Yeah, it was Morpheus. He fucking killed.
Which pill did he take?
He must have taken both. Which end did he put it in? Is a better question.
Oh, wow.
No, the guy watched the Matrix all day, every day. If he was awake, he was either listening to the soundtrack or watching the movie. And then he flipped out. And I think, what did he shoot, his mom or something?
Whoa.
Or his dad?
Yeah.
But he shot he shot a few people, but he had said, when I shot my mom or I shot whoever, I did not expect it to look like that. I expected it to be like the movie.
Yeah, she was going to dodge it and kind of, do that weird laid
He
back.
thought she was going to do like a down the stairs, but I always wonder what these things is like. It's that age-old question, is it life imitating art or art imitating life? Like, which came first? The not to mix analogies here, but the chicken or the egg. Like, clearly there was violent shit going on well before we had, media being put out on a scale
100%,
even close to 30, 40, 50, 100 years ago. You know what I mean? People living on fucking farms and shit were getting violence, and maybe they had a book. The town shared a book.
And speaking of Columbine, like Scream, what was it? Scream 3, the original plot line of it was very similar, where it was kind of a murderer inside of a school, and like they scrapped everything once that happened and instead went to Hollywood with it. But that was already in production before this thing happened. So you're right. Like, is it art imitating life or life imitating art? It's kind of hard to say.
And not for nothing too, with the Columbine kids, like that's like a fantasy most kids fucking had. Do you guys remember the movie Basketball Diaries?
Yes.
Oh yeah, Leo.
He's got that whole scene, that dream sequence that he talks about, where he trench coat, shotgun, music playing, friends like.
Supposedly it was a big influence on them.
Yeah,
see, that makes more sense than Mortal Kombat does.
Yeah. All right. There's so many jokes. That like it's still inappropriate. How many years later?
Oh, sure.
Friendship.
I like inappropriate jokes. These are the best.
I think if the Columbine kids decided to set up this fighting tournament and it was to the death, it would be a bit more. Well, what games are these kids playing? But like you brought up, Patrick, it is more like that dream sequence in Basketball Diaries.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating.
So blame that blame fucking Leo. Blame that motherfucker. He caused all the violence in schools. We finally found the source. 5 brains got put together. We found the source of violence in schools. It's Leonardo DiCaprio.
That Gilbert Grape, man.
Yeah.
I got deleted.
Cause of it all.
Well, there's going back even further since like before I was around. Some girl had a bedroom across the street from a school, and she was just sniping a bunch of little kids. And they asked her why she did it. She said, I don't like Mondays. And I was like,
what?
Yeah, there's also the clock tower one that's been used in a whole bunch of different movies and stuff. But there's been quite a few different real incidents of that. I don't know that that's new, but actually seeing the vlogs from these kids, and I guess it was pre-vlog, but like they recorded themselves a shitload, and they said why they were doing this, and the fact that so many kids are on antidepressants or at least some mind-altering substance. I don't know, that has to factor in, but prior to that, these things still happen. So I don't know. It is kind of a chicken or egg type of thing. Are we just violent animals?
Yeah,
well, I think it's perception too. To go back to your reference of depressed or chemical imbalance within folks who are thinking inappropriately. You never know what's going to motivate them for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, sure. is it a violent person is drawn to that media, or is it, the media that made them violent? I would assume it's not the latter, because I mean,
it seems like we would have a lot more.
Kombat.
For sure.
I love
think we're all kind of case studies in this. I know I've never been arrested for a violent crime yet, but yeah. So
got
clock's ticking. I mean, there's a couple of investigations, but
it's only Wednesday.
But as of now, so I don't know. It kind of seems like if it was that media actually making us more violent, like we all would have seen it or experienced it in our life.
Yeah, fair point. Yeah. So DC, do you want to expand more on what you said?
No, and I think you guys actually brought up great examples. I mean, yeah, and I think I'm proud of you guys for bringing up great examples as well, and examples I actually kind of forgot about. But yeah, I thought,
that sniper one was a weird one.
Thanks.
Yeah. Well, we're not just good looking, so.
All right. So when are we planning our terrorist strike?
Where is the bomb going to be?
We just have to place MK1 first. I don't know.
We're going to prove a point. We're not motivated by anything but our own discussions.
I'm going to go smack my girlfriend.
Oh, wow, that's dark.
I just love how this has turned into a Mortal Kombat discussion. I like that.
Hey, Goro deserved more. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's in the fucking name. It's called Mortal Kombat. It's not like handshake and tea.
I mean, my first Mortal Kombat was actually Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe. I didn't even know it was meant to be a violent game, Mortal Kombat, because I never thought it was like that.
Oh. You had it confused with Mortal Pillow Fight.
Cuddle kisses.
I was literally just typing that, dude.
Oh.
It's a common mistake.
Oh my god.
So I will ask, do violence in media create more violence in the real world? And I will ask this time around, Gray, what would be your answer?
I'd say no. I think we had a lot of violence in media, like going back as far as media in this country goes. Really in the world, like it's kind of been a thing as old as time. If it bleeds, it leads. People are more excited to read about something sensational. Charles even brought up the Bible. It's like, damn, that thing is full of, and of course my dogs are barking, but it's full of violence. I would think if that begot violence, we would just have more and more violence, and it'd be an endless cycle where it seems to kind of ebb and flow. I'm gonna silence because of my dog.
Okay, I guess that's his answer being a no. What about you,
violence.
Charles? What would be your response to that? Do violence in media makes it worse?
For certain people, sure. But not everybody is like that. Patrick just said before he enjoys violence quite a bit, but it doesn't mean, he's sitting here, the house looks pretty clean. It doesn't mean he's just gonna go thrash everybody because he watched some Texas Chainsaw.
Perhaps the violence is what keeps it clean. You never know.
Perhaps.
You're gonna see Nikki walk out here like,
is it better now, sir?
You've embarrassed me. There's shit on the
table. You will clean your blood on the wall.
But I think with certain people, certain things are for lack of a better word, triggering for certain things that are lurking in their heads. And I do think for the people that can't interpret fiction or something that really shouldn't be done to another human being at all, yes, to a degree, sure. The amount of shit I've come across, the true crime shit where somebody's killed somebody or done something because they wanted to be like a thing. I mean, the incel movement quotes Elliot Rodger, who could be the most misunderstood, or at least misunderstanding of his situation person to follow. Like, he had it very easy and he just didn't know how to socialize. He didn't fail at having sex because, he tried so many times. He didn't know how to socialize. I mean, in Hollywood or California, if you're driving around in a BMW and you're going to these high swanky, ultra VIP Hollywood events, people will fuck you just for the +1. And he just didn't know how to exploit that element of his background. So it's not as easy as, oh, this equals that. The things that get glorified in these crimes and violent cases, there's a lot more to it than that. And the people who don't understand that tend to look at they get tunnel vision about the one thing they want to see, I think.
I like your perspective a lot.
I don't even know what the fuck I said.
No, it made sense. The dude was looking in the wrong place. He had money, so he was definitely looking in the wrong spot.
Right. He was driving around in a BMW and complaining. It's like this is my problem. I watched something where they talked about the week leading up to his I don't know what the hell he called it, the destruction or apocalypse, or the fuck his
live stream.
But like he was at like this ultra VIP Katy Perry concert where it was just for Hollywood execs, and it's like you could have just asked. I don't know. There's a lot of shallow women, especially in Hollywood. I don't think you look hard
Katy Perry fan.
Yeah, not too much of a thinker there.
Firework.
Yeah.
I also know a lot of shallow men.
Oh, sure. Whenever I hear these like this incel complaint shit, I'm like, all right, so you just want a pretty girl. Does she need to speak? Does that matter at all? Okay. Conversations don't matter.
It's better when they don't talk.
Mouth is full.
I don't even care what they look like.
Oh my god!
Don't fucking talk to me.
Look that way, please. Just look that way.
Yeah.
So, do you want to add more, Charles?
I'm stammering here. No, I'm done. Thank you.
I think he's done enough.
So, A-Base, do violence in media create more violence in the real world?
I don't know.
Okay.
Fence sitter.
Do you want to expand?
No. Skip me.
Multi, do you think it leads to violence in the real world, sir?
I will sound cheap and sad because I will actually repeat what Charles was thinking. I think some people are influenced by media and they turn out to be violent because of media, but it's some people. It's not all violence that is created by media. Keep in mind, some people aren't violent, but they can still think of violence and make violence up. Yep. So I think it depends. It's a really case by case, but we need to also consider what Gray has mentioned before, that we used to be more violent as people, and maybe now we externalize our violence by enjoying violence in media, like a bit like in the past times, but now it's fake instead of real people fighting in the arena.
Yeah.
So that's my take.
Yeah.
I don't know if I was clear or crazy. I don't know.
Oh, you're clear.
Both.
Me, Multi, and Charles all in a way had the same answers, just we said it in completely different ways.
Yeah.
Yours makes sense and mine's brain garble.
Yeah, it's actually why I didn't answer, because I didn't pay attention to what anybody said. And I was afraid to repeat it, like it was my own opinion, because chances are I would have heard it and been like, "Man, I thought that up. That was a thought."
We all agree that violence can be good, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Patrick was busy ordering some weapons.
I'm doing the complete opposite of violence right now.
Oh, okay, you pacifist.
Yeah, pacifist across your face. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry. I got a work email at the same time as we were all talking. And I was also trying to roll joints. So
no, I understand. I got the very subtle message that you were saying, the opposite. No, I got you.
I'm just going to stop this right here.
This is the A-base way, multitasking.
Yeah,
very.
I'm trying to make you guys interesting.
Good luck, man.
I don't think I have the hot
decent.
This is actually my favorite episode we had so far, and I feel like I say
You
that
say that all the time.
Yeah,
it's time you're there, Charles.
Well, it's a low bar, you know.
I am. I know. Yes.
It's rare we laugh so much, and this is amazing.
Well, you know what's funny is the last time that I was on and Charles was not, you said it was your favorite episode.
Yeah.
So maybe you're just a two-timing bitch is really what's going on here.
No,
Like,
not really, because you're funny.
Yeah.
You guys are funny.
That's all it takes.
I like laughing. Yeah, that's all it takes. I'm not that hard to please, guys. Like, you guys are funny. That's amazing.
You'd make a perfect wife.
You know, just speaking of fun, just now, I almost thought there was a spider in my room, which scared me.
Did you commit violence?
No.
Did you want to delete the spider?
I saw Charlotte's Web. You're dead.
Yeah, I hate spiders. And Gray, in case you're wondering, the reason why I put Eight-Legged Freeze and Home Alone is kind of because of that.
Okay. I mean, Home Alone was pretty violent, but in a hilarious way. You know, somebody getting an iron on their face or getting their hand completely torched by a red-hot doorknob. Fair enough. There was a bit of violence, but you get the comedy in there. So,
I mean,
you know, based.
The violence wasn't the problem. I think the worst part is why a tarantula of all the things that you could have as a pet. Out of all the things,
it was Buzz that had it. He also had an ugly girlfriend, so
it's like damn it. Tarantula of all things.
You know something funny about Buzz's girlfriend? You know the picture that Kevin looks at and he goes, "Woof."
Yes.
So I can't remember exactly whether it was the producer, the director, or somebody, but it was somebody on staff's son put a wig on and like made a goofy, like he was just a little fat kid. And he was
woke messaging.
He's like, I'll put a wig on. So it's just, I was like a little fat boy that did that, like that, but it was one of the guy's sons or something. And they thought it was hysterical, so they just added it in.
I would also think it would be.
Apparently, it was the director's son who volunteered. They thought it'd be cruel to put a woman's face on that. Yeah. Fair enough.
No, did you just look it up?
Chris Columbus?
Indeed, I did.
Yeah, that is right. Because they didn't want to hurt someone's feelings. They didn't want like some girl out there.
Just put my kid out there. Fuck it. We got money for therapy.
Yeah, we do.
Wait, so on a completely irrelevant point, I watched Madam Web today. How much of those characters?
Oh my God! I'm so happy you said that. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm so excited.
Totally underutilized that as.
How much of those characters that we don't really see too much except for in visions are based in like comic book characters? Like, how is any of that made up?
No. So all of those characters are real characters, but it's not the origin of them. And Madam Web even. So it is a character, but she's supposed to be very old and she's supposed to be blind and she's supposed to kind of be into it. She's not supposed to be the chick from 50 Shades, but fair enough. They are real characters. They just did their own Sony interpretation of it and put them in this universe.
The dude was something else in the comics as well?
Yeah, he is an actual character. He's not exactly like that, and his origin isn't some spider that bit him in the Amazon. But yes, he's also a real character.
That movie was fucking great.
Whoa.
It was great.
It was.
I was excited for it, but my God, the execution on it! Like, come on, like it just sounds so awesome. Final Destination with superheroes, like that could be so amazing, but the execution is just where they got me.
But no,
guys, hype me up so much for our future stream where I will need to see that movie.
Yeah,
damn it, I'll have to remember it then. Okay.
Yeah, it's in the list. I don't know when exactly we will cover that, but I know it's
studio's fault. It's the big studio. It's the only reason to blame that.
Oh, you don't think somebody wrote that Pepsi fight?
No. No.
That movie.
Big studio's hands were tied together. They just couldn't.
You need to make a Pepsi commercial.
It was unbelievable. I loved every minute of it. Like the beginning, I was just like, oh my God. I'm like, is this happening? And then I'm like, oh, this is just, it's just, there's no effort. And then at the end, I'm like, they must have done this on purpose. Like, there's no way.
I hope the spiders were worth it, Mom.
Yeah. I am okay. It did work, Mom. Yeah. She's like,
great. Now that Gray knows I'm arachnophobic, now he's gonna torment me with spiders, tarantulas for the rest.
There's one in the mail, Fred.
Spiders. Spiders.
Spiders.
Oh God. Anyway,
so, DC, have you seen Arachnophobia?
I'm arachnophobic.
No,
there's a movie called Arachnophobia.
But the quality movie with John Goodman. It's amazing.
I've never heard about that.
Oh, it's a classic. You might want to look it up. It may scare you. They do have one of those, what are they called? Like bird-eating tarantulas? I can't remember what they call those ones, but Goliath bird eater. That's what it is. Yeah, they're awesome, man.
God.
And that guy is in it, the one that they just found in the woods or in California. Maybe
Randy Quaid?
Okay. No,
Jeff Daniels is the other lead, but they didn't find him in the woods, did they?
Oh, God.
No, Julian Sands.
Oh, shit.
The Warlock.
Yeah, the Warlock. Oh, goddamn. I don't know why I blanked that out. I was like, really?
Yeah, he did.
The guy from Dumb and Dumber in the woods? But, oh, man, I forgot about that.
Yeah, because that happened right. Something else really substantial happened that week, and it completely overshadowed him, like, missing. He was just missing. He went, like, for a fucking hike, and they couldn't find him. And then I think they found him. But I forget what it was. Something happened that overshadowed the story. Somebody else, maybe more famous, died. I'm not sure.
Oh, in real life?
In real, IRL.
In the news.
Sorry.
Yeah, I totally forgot
IRL.
about that. Kind of the same thing happened to, there's another actor that kind of happened to. That's horrible. Timing sucks, man.
But yeah, he's in it. He plays like the gentle scientist who's trying to bring back the what is it? The spider?
Goliath bird-eating tarantula.
Yeah. He was great. That guy. He was awesome in Warlock too. But yeah, no, DC,
True.
you need to see Arachnophobia because they're going to be remaking it.
Oh, man, they'll never get as good as Goodman.
No.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll bring him back if he's not dead by that point.
Yeah.
Of course. Hard to say.
Yeah. Good news is I'm not watching any of those films.
You might want to. There's a lot of spiders getting crushed in this one. You can live out your fantasy, but they do win against a lot of people, so hard to say. It's better than Eight-Legged Freaks, for sure.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, if Eight-Legged Freaks traumatized me that much, I don't think I can handle these other films. Like, the only spider films I can watch are, like, Spider-Man movies. But then again, Spider-Man. Because they have...
I mean, David Arquette has traumatized a lot of us. I would give John Goodman a try and Jeff Daniels. You know, he's a Dumb and Dumber. It's the other guy, not Jim Carrey. You'll enjoy it.
I don't think I can handle it. Sorry. It's just because whenever, if you ask me why, sometimes, after watching Raiders of the Lost Ark, after watching that film, it kind of psychologically traumatized me. And now I feel like there's, trees all over me. And sometimes when I go to take a shower, I have a feeling I'm going to see a spider and tarantulas pop up instead.
Well, I mean, that's going to happen.
Yeah, and there's more places in your house to be scared of spiders. This movie will show you that. You should be prepared.
It's only a fucking matter of time.
If you sleep with your mouth open,
you check your slippers before you put them on.
Do you look in your shoes every single time? Have you checked your popcorn bowl?
Oh, no.
Yeah, popcorn bowl.
What if Spider-Man was in Mortal Kombat?
The one spider goes right down the crack of the ass of the girl in the shower.
I mean, good shot.
Thought about that? Straight down the T-toes, around the back to the boot. That could happen. I mean, it's gonna happen. It's not even good.
Wow.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't know if
guys
are joking or guys really believe that kind of stuff can happen.
No, there's
it can and will.
There's a study where they say over the course of a lifetime, a 75-year-old person, You swallow 8 spiders in your sleep over the course of a 75-year-old lifespan.
And that's just the ones that can be documented.
Really?
Right.
And 3 dicks.
No, way more than that.
Sleep is terrible on people.
I've heard otherwise. I've heard the spiders, they are shy to go in holes they don't know. And that includes our mouth. They don't know what our
Not
mouth
all
is.
are shy about holes. Some like exploring. The only way to be sure is to sleep with. Yeah, true. The only way to be sure is to sleep with pantyhose on your head. It's the only way.
Okay, now I'm not sure if you guys are just saying half of these just to traumatize me, or if you guys are.
No, they're all facts, man. Look it up.
Yeah.
Do your own research.
Statistically,
You don't
speaking.
sleep with pantyhose on your head? Wow,
Okay.
living dangerously, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I have a fastener that comes around all holes on the face.
See, I had one.
My
Mine
eyes-
kept getting weared out. So, yeah, I just went with full pantyhose.
Yeah, I get it. Because I don't like to have it over my eyes. My eyes are closed. The spiders can't get in. So I go like wrap around the nose, ears, and then, bottom's protected.
So, question number 2. What are the advantages to violence in media? And I will start with Charles this time around. Do you see any advantage in violence in media?
You started with him last time.
Yeah, wait. Yeah, go around. I'm going to steal Patrick's answer now.
Maybe.
Now I gotta have one.
So, Gray, you're second.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of advantages. It can prepare you for what's to come. Inevitably, we're all going to deal with violence at some point, whether it's right in front of us, right next to us, or literally with us. So I don't know. It can kind of prepare you. It can give you that mental journey of like, well, what would I do in this situation? So you're not just like gobstruck and like, what do I do? Like, whoa. Odds are you'd be able to hopefully jump into action or be prepared. There's going to be, so sadly, there's billions of people on the planet. And while not everyone is crazy, it's very rare. Still, even if it's 1 in a million, that's a lot of crazy people in every country that we're living in. I know we're not all in the same country. Some of us chose the right one. But I'm just saying violence is going to happen with some people that are not mentally all there necessarily. Some people are tragically violent. And, to pretend that that's not happening or just put a blind eye to it, I think that could really get you unprepared for a dangerous situation you might find yourself in. So I think it could help you get a realistic look at what's going on, but it could also be very detrimental if you're hyper-focused on it, if that's all you're seeing, if your stupid Twitter feed just keeps showing you people dying. I think that's detrimental to your health. I think it really kills a part of my soul every time I log into Twitter, but that's a me problem. I think for the most part, it's good, though. It can prepare you for what could possibly happen.
Did you load the Faces of Death plugin on your Twitter feed?
I didn't, but I wouldn't be surprised if somebody subbed me to that because, my God, man, like it is crazy. And it's like weird things that why is this video from the third world like in my feed? I don't know. But every day there's a new one. It is crazy.
Great. One tip. Don't open up Twitter. That's a good way,
Twitter is really terrible lately.
Yeah,
I agree. I hardly go on it. Like even 6 months or a year ago.
I think it was always like that, but now people kind of notice it more often for some reason. But I think it was always like that. A-based.
Mm-hmm.
You're next with question number 2. What are the advantages to violence in media?
I mean,
no fence setting.
Yeah, no, I just it makes it better. I mean, to be honest,
if you can learn how to do better moves.
Yes, I watched Jackie Chan for the exact reasons that Gray had just talked about. But no, like if I'm watching a movie and it's a dramatic story or a true story, I kind of want to see the violent aspects of it because I feel like it really otherwise you're taken out of the story. So the main benefit is just conveying a reality in the media, whether it be TV, video games, I don't know, books. I don't read, but Weirdly, I feel the complete opposite way about sex, though. In media, I wish it was not there at all. But I want all the violence, but I don't want any of the sex.
Why?
It's just a waste of fucking time. I mean, Jesus, what are we watching?
Get to the violence.
Yeah, get to the violence. I don't need to see the big long sex scene. That's very much like not going to be realistic anyway. They always do the weird leg up thing. I'd rather see, I'd rather see like a leg being broken than a leg propped up weirdly as they do a hump. It just.
What if you combine the two scenes? Does that change it for you?
Yeah, France does that. French extremist movies, just a bunch of our revenge movies.
Yeah. I've actually seen like violence naked, and I've appreciated it. Like, and not just prison films, but like, what was that comedy?
Brawl in Cell Block, whatever. I don't know. There's a Vince Vaughn one that's pretty crazy.
Jennifer Lawrence, where she
gets out of the water and just buck naked,
and just fighting. And now that conveyed what made that sort of funny was that it was real, and the violence was her nudity, and her beating the shit out of those kids, and like that was a situation where I'm like, all right, nudity and violence all in one shot. I'll take it all.
It adds to the comedy too, because she has to get her clothes back. So
yeah. But I don't I don't like sex on TV and movies, but violence, I just feel like I want it to be realistic, and I almost want it to be like something that I can't even. I don't like watching a movie where everything's normal and calm. Like, why would I do that? I have a normal life and a calm life. I have arguments in the street. I want to see that movie with God damn it, I can never remember shit. The one with the Better Call Saul guy, where he finally gets like
Nobody.
Oh,
and he
good stuff.
Bob Odenkirk kicking ass. It's awesome, man.
Yeah, like he's on the bus, and you're on the bus. You're sitting there, and you're like, this motherfucker. Like I can't, I'm in traffic. Some fucking punk cuts me off, but I'm gonna be 46 next week. I can't fist fight young punks anymore. But Bob Odenkirk could, and Nobody, and he violently beats the piss out of like 5-6 guys on a bus, and that shit was awesome. So like, the benefit I could see of it is that you need it for it to be realistic. You need to be able to like not even have to suspend your disbelief. You need to just be in it, and violence can bring you there. So, I mean, I like it, and I can live vicariously through it.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I like that answer a lot because it's very relatable. Like it's entertaining to watch action. So that would be my answer. Like one of the advantage, it's entertaining. It's sad to say,
but Charles was stealing a base answer. You can't steal Patrick's answer.
it was entertaining to watch people fighting. It's always entertaining. But I also got another potential answer, but this is very specific to some people. If you got empathy and you see what violence can do to others, maybe you may end up being more reluctant to be violent because you have said empathy. So you can see the consequence of violence and such, and that could make it more like a deterrent, if we can call it that way. So that's a perspective I thought was interesting to bring up.
Well, then you kind of stole Gray's idea there.
I didn't realize I was stealing his, but I guess I do. I'm sorry, Gray.
Because he's saying it will prepare you, is what he's saying.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, you're right.
So you'd be prepared. It would prepare you that there would be this consequence to it.
Yeah.
Just like the consequence of trying to punch a guy twice your size, you're gonna get your ass kicked. unless you're like a 95-pound blonde woman, then you can beat the shit out of anyone.
Until you realize you cannot really lift them up like the movie does.
No, I can't do that shit. I can't fucking do it. I bet you Charlize Theron could lift me though. I probably can't lift her.
I'd let her.
Oh,
Yeah,
geez.
she could.
For real.
I'm dead. Rest in peace, MTT.
Yeah, she just gets better looking.
I know, what the fuck.
It's because she's like South African or something. She's some weird breed.
It's all that apartheid in her.
Yeah, she's probably a fucking alien or something. She's not a human being.
Yeah.
So DC, you're next.
All right. All right.
That's good, DC.
All right. Yeah. All right. So some of the advantages are, for starters, in a weird way, it can at times lessen a situation. Like, say there's a really bad situation, and if violence helps lessen it, then that's where it can be an advantage. Other ones are, say if your friend is either getting bullied or R-word I can't even say because YouTube, then yeah, violence can help to stop the person who's doing it. Or yeah, in these cases, violence can work. Like, if it's just you just gonna punch some people in the face, then yeah, it can work. I'm fine with that. Or if people are robbing you, then yeah, punching them in the face can work. So those are like the only times I think violence can work. If it's to teach a lesson, like say someone who's being a jerk and cannot accept, then yeah, I think violence in that case can also work. But yeah, so those are where I'd say are some of the advantages to violence.
Okay. Is anybody wants to add more to that second question? No. I guess not.
What was the question again?
The question was
the benefits.
Good question.
Yeah, the advantage of violence in media.
Yeah, that helps preparedness for people who don't get out much.
Yeah.
Oh, so us. Okay.
Okay. So question number 3.
Wait, before we do that, whose answer are you going to copy this time, Multi?
I have no clue. I will actually start this time around.
So.
Okay. Now we'll see whose you copied ahead of time. That's going to be weird.
Multi, this is my favorite episode because you're answering first right now.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite because I'm in it.
Question number 3. What are the downsides of violence in media? So I will be answering it first because I placed myself there. So my answer would be people see it, and sometimes some people will do it because they have seen it, and it also makes some people desensitized. Like it makes it like, oh, there's violence everywhere, and because there's violence everywhere, it's fine, it's not bad, and they don't really see the true effect it can have. So that would be a downside, or 2 downside, I should say. So it's really the fact that violence is something that can be really bad if that's all you consume. That can influence your attitude and such. So yeah, that's why some movies are for adult, because some movies should be watched by adult because their brain is formed and such. So that's
adult movies were different.
That's a messy response I gave, but yeah, that's my response. So now I will throw the question to Patrick A-Based. What would be your answer?
What was the question again?
Question number 3 is, what are the downside of violence in media?
I think the biggest downside is just that the media is consumed by people who can't tell the difference between stories and reality. There's people, I guess, that just should not consume violent media, but how do you filter that? That's all I have. I'm a little baked.
That's still very good. That's more than enough. And now I will ask Charles, what would be your answer to question number 3?
Again, question?
Yeah. What are the downsides of violence in media? Like, what's wrong with it?
Well, desensitization, probably more than anything. People get used to things, and like Patrick said, the wrong people don't know how to decipher. That's just something on TV, and a lot of people who probably need some therapy one way or another are like putting some of these horrific things that happen on a pedestal and like looking to achieve that fame, and it's not really fame so much as infamy. So it's desensitized, and it's sending the wrong messages to the wrong people. Like 9/11, the news coverage, and there's some people who managed to zoom in on people who are opting to not take the ride down on the World Trade Center, and it was really, really graphic. There was close-ups of people jumping off, and that's real life. That's news coverage. Then you have the World Trade Center movie with Nicolas Cage, and that very like the effect of those jumps, they don't show that. They just show these loud bangs, or they don't really focus on it. It's just loud thuds, and every time the thud happens, the firefighters they shake, and it's kind of an element of horror, even though it's based on a true event. Your mind, like when you have only your mind to think about what could possibly be the what's behind that sound, you really make yourself horrified. And we, as people who experienced it in real life, when that movie came out, we knew what those thuds were. We knew that we had video evidence of what was going on there. But for those firefighters, they did a pretty decent job of letting them be frightened of what was behind those sounds. And they're firefighters, so they see all the fucked up shit on a daily basis.
I've got kind of a weird tangent, but it relates to that. Does violence have to just be like graphic
9/11?
or well, so yeah, I would consider that graphic, but like Grizzly Man, for instance, like that is some of the most horrifying audio I've ever heard, and it's so graphic, but you don't see anything. Like you're watching Werner Herzog, like, listen to it or whatever. Would you consider that violence, or is that just like graphic audio?
What is Grizzly Man?
So it's a dude who lived with a bunch of grizzlies, and he did a bunch of recordings with it. And one of the last recordings that they found, he was getting attacked and eaten by the grizzly, and it took quite a long time. And
wow,
shocker!
Yeah. Don't play with other animals, bro.
Who could have seen that fucking twist coming?
It's like the guy losing a leg over a crocodile. It's like, bro,
it's funny. It's funny Gray brings that up, though, because I was thinking just before, Nikki and I watched The Revenant. She had never seen it before, so she watched for the first time the other night, and that's
speaking of bears,
it's incredibly violent, and it's bear on man. So is that fall under this rubric?
I would think so. It's nature being violent against men. That's kind of what I'd see with Grizzly Man too. So I guess to kind of piggyback off of what Charles was saying, like I think one of the downsides, I think I would kind of disagree that it's not desensitization, but it's normalization. I think we maybe shouldn't be desensitized to it. Like we shouldn't be pearl clutching and be like, oh, like every time like we see some
How's that sound
act,
again?
like, oh, I think I did something around that. But like I think we shouldn't be too sensitive around the area, but it shouldn't be normalized that like this is just what's going to happen. This is what's to be expected. I think you run the risk of that. And then I know I've been traumatized by seeing extremely graphic images, especially if they involve like animals. I don't know what it is. I've seen like hundreds of people get killed on my Twitter now, but goddamn, when it's anything that involves animals, like it is traumatizing. Like I don't know. It's just so I don't know. I think normalization and traumatization would be my two major downsides to violence.
Gray has some major Twitter PTSD because that's like what the fourth time he's brought up to damn Twitter.
Dude, I can show you my feed. It is disturbing. Like I know I did this myself. It is disturbing.
They show you what you look for, right? Fucking.
I know I did it to myself. My God, I can't undo it.
It's like, why do I have all these gay dating sites on my feed?
Whoa.
You're a violent man. I mean, it's always
Great unmasked.
What about you, DC? What do you see as downside, sir?
He said
If
he was
he's
away
back.
for a bit.
Show me your
He's back, DC. Maybe DC isn't back.
Probably should have read that private chat and not stop the train. But yes, I did this to myself. I've been traumatized by my own feed. I get you. It's my fault. But I think that's a real risk. Everything shouldn't be seen by everyone. It would be cool if there was one of those, like, not safe for work, or I don't know. I guess trigger warnings don't really work, apparently. Just seeing the words would be enough to trigger some. So I don't know. I'm not sure what you could do to prevent that, but some of these I'd like to not just open it up and see, like, okay, well, that dude's dead.
Have you tried not being a girl?
It didn't work out so well. I like the additional privilege I get. What can I say?
No, I get it because you know what gets me? When people fall like on their teeth, or like when somebody's like that impending, like they're about to fall, and like it kills me. So if I'm like going through my feed and all of a sudden I start to see that shit, I'm like, oh,
yeah, that's my anytime I open Twitter. It sucks, but welcome to girlhood.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
I say, me and my simpleton brain. Have you heard I don't think they've released the audio, but the transcription of Steve Irwin when he tragically met his demise?
No, I'd kind of heard what happened in the situation, but I didn't. No, I've never read the transcript. But it was being filmed, so.
Right. He was defending he said, I startled him. Like those were one of his last words was, it's not his fault, I startled him. And it's, some of these people with these animals and these I don't know, those people who are spending most of their time with Mother Nature are, it's interesting.
I don't know why that makes me laugh.
Crikey.
I just pictured Steve Irwin. It's like, and then he said, crikey. I startled him.
It's all my fault.
It's like, it's like you're so calm. It's just so calm. Like, like, oh, and then I startled him.
Yeah.
Well, that's super honorable of him, though. Like, that is awesome. I hope my last words were anything but like, ah!
Yeah. I don't know. I would be like, fuck this thing.
Yeah. I mean,
mine would be, what am I doing in the ocean?
Yeah, that shouldn't startle deadly beings.
Why aren't I 5 feet further away? It's just like, what do you think's gonna happen? It's just amazing he didn't get eaten by a croc.
Yeah, you're not yourself when you're hungry.
I think people definitely had money down on the croc. But, yeah, I mean, I hope if I go one day I can be as cool as either Steve Irwin or Muldoon from Jurassic Park. Like, clever girl. I don't know.
Yeah, it's pretty badass. But Grizzly Man.
That's like the worst way to go out. It's like you run after it.
Yeah. Sorry.
DC, what are your downsides to violence in media?
Yeah.
Okay, so some downsides. I would be like school shootings, all that stuff, criminal activities, drugs, even those kind of topics. Bullying
like right
as well. Yeah, I pretty much say what I just said.
Did you just blame bowling?
Yeah, bowling. Sorry, I just ate.
Bullying.
Yeah, that.
Oh, I was like, huh. Fair enough. I mean, I guess you're violent to the pins, but okay, bullying. Yes.
Yeah, like I believe some of these can be caused by media, to some extension. But yeah, overall, There are a lot. I think those are like the major downsides at best.
So Patrick just did drugs on this media platform. So
those are pacifist drugs. It's not like roids. Roids cause rage and then extra violence. So,
but wait a minute,
there's certain ones,
and it's legal.
And Basketball Diaries, he does heroin, and heroin is like,
generally not the most violent of drugs.
But, right, but he goes on a school shooting. So wait a minute.
Should have chose better drugs.
Next time, pick meth, will you?
Yeah.
Yeah, villainize that thing.
Don't villainize heroin.
Yeah, don't do coke.
Well, given how Gray has been Johnny Cage of this stream, not sure if I trust his word.
I do enjoy the nut punch.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think that was the last real question on the list. I think there was only the list of 3.
The last question, and I'm gonna be imposturing on multi. Why?
Excuse me. There is one more. It was formatted weird.
It was formatted weird. I am sorry.
Oh God. Welcome back, sir.
Yeah. Multi. Surely you and Gray weren't just playing capturing me and having Gray's dogs tear me to shreds while having live tarantulas walk over me. Surely you and Gray weren't just playing out the time I was also gone.
Is that a sexual fantasy?
This violence is affecting me.
I don't want that kind of picture in my mind.
I feel like I was involved.
Hard pass.
My dogs may bark, but they don't like violence, sir.
That was a weird moment, I gotta admit.
But he's denying the accusation, DC.
Maybe
you played too much of Mortal Kombat, bro. I don't know.
I was just making a joke. I was actually playing.
You may be one of these people who spoke up earlier.
I was like, sorry. I was actually going to make a joke. Sorry, it took me a while. Multi and Gray were essentially in my house and captured me essentially as a joke. But yeah.
That goes.
Gray's always doing that shit. That's typical Gray.
That's so great.
That's why it doesn't.
It's my love language, kidnapping.
Last week he came in here.
Don't forget the chloroform.
Pulled me out of bed.
Purdue.
They based Panic Room on the story of Gray.
Yeah.
The antagonist, not the protagonist.
So, question number 4. Why some of us are driven toward violent media? And now I will answer first.
This is my favorite episode. You're amazing.
Nice. Thank you. But I think it's because as people we like dark stuff. I think a lot of people do. And violence is something that we don't necessarily want to do because we know it's wrong, but we enjoy seeing it, I think. Otherwise, why would so many media would have violence in it? So I think that's the appeal of that's the forbidden thing that we have a so easy access to. I think that would be my answer. It's a bit messy, but that's what I think.
Yeah.
We'll allow it.
Yeah.
You kind of touched on it. It's why it's the same reason why scary rides, the amusement park is so popular with people of a certain age, because you want to experience something that exhilarates you, perhaps even frightens you, but you don't want to experience the effect of the cause of being frightened. You just want a sneak preview of it. So violence in media gives you the ability to be frightened, weirded out, whatever the extreme feelings that go with violence.
Titillated.
Yep. Yes.
They called by it.
Yeah, and you could walk away from it. So it's but for some people it's I don't know, a blueprint for very bad things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I found $20.
Yeah.
And we used to lock these people up.
Right.
Now we just let them walk the streets.
It's normal. They are saints. You just don't know it.
No, you know what? In a nut house, because I know that's like the really, the proper terminology for it.
That's woke. Can you not with the woke terms, please?
Yes, I'm sorry.
No, we need woke term.
In the booby hatch,
that's better.
They limit
more inclusive.
They limit the type of movies you can see. You can't put like a violent movie on in the rec room of a what do they call it now? A hospital? Insane
no,
asylum?
I think booby hatch.
Booby hatch. The loony bin. Loonies from Tokus.
I think it might be like a mental health facility or something along
those lines.
Yeah.
That's it. Everything's about our health now. Come on.
Inpatient mental health facility, I think.
Yeah, they don't let those guys watch
you want
movies.
Me to say nutbags or something.
I know. I was like, those fucking nutty bastards. They don't let those loony sons of bitches watch that stuff.
Fair enough.
They got to screw loose. On sandwich short of a picnic.
It makes a certain amount of sense. So I guess kind of piggybacking off of what everyone said, like, yeah, there's probably a certain amount of people, a certain percentage that shouldn't see this stuff, but I think we're kind of driven to it, kind of like Charles was saying, that whole like, mastering a fear or experiencing it. You can kind of live vicariously through someone. You're able to kind of master this thing that is thrilling, that is somehow enticing, but I think it's because we're basically animals. It's something animalistic. Even in like the primate kingdoms, you can kind of watch them kind of gather around and watch like fights. It's not something that's unique only to humans. And violence is not unique only to humans. So I don't know. I think it's, I don't know if I would say like an animal urge or need that we have. And then on top of that, it's a thrill. So
yeah,
I don't know. It seems to get people's adrenaline pumping and a certain amount of something like that. And certain endorphins fire when you like, get through this harrowing event. So I don't know. I think it's just kind of an animalistic want or need. Yeah, and there could be much more violent, less humane ways of expressing it. So I don't know. I think the kind that we have in fiction seems pretty great, but I have definitely been traumatized by Twitter. I'm not sure if I've told you guys, but Twitter bad.
Yeah.
Good luck with my show, Gray.
Well, you know what?
Because I bet you'll be more traumatized than Twitter. I can say that for sure.
I don't know, man. I know way too many people's last words.
I don't know if I should laugh, but
you know what brings it to another level though, Gray, with Twitter, and I kind of like maybe you feel this too. It's not just that you're watching something that's like incredibly violent and upsetting. It's that someone had to take the time to post that shit. Like,
yeah, they edited it and share it too,
and edit it, and like. Yeah, it's like.
Oh, make sure your logo's on it too. You want to get credit for it.
Yeah. Like that's the extra added upsetting part to that violence.
Don't steal this shit. I got my watermark, which I went out of the way to put on this video.
So, you kind of already answered a bit that question, but I will still ask it to you, Charles. Why some of us are driven?
I answered already.
Oh, you're right. That's a roller coaster thing.
Yeah. This is my favorite episode.
I think we all answered.
I have fish memory, sorry. So Gray kind of also answered it. And Patrick, did you answer question number 4?
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure. I participated. So
okay.
DC, have you participated?
Yeah. I don't think I have.
I think so. You did.
Yeah, that's your goal. That's your
all
key.
right. So why some of us are driven towards violent media? For film, games, and shows, it's just because we just want to watch it and have a good time. That's why I feel like with those kind of things, it's always like entertaining. Like that's kind of why I watch some films, some violent shows, some violent games, just because I just want to see the violence. Yeah. But I mean, as for like say real life violence, like 9/11, like 9/11, World War II, it's because I'm kind of interested in learning more about what happened, and yeah. Now, granted, I think it's important that we separate, like what I said, 9/11 to say South Park. We should definitely separate non-plot. Oh, these two things happen at the same time in any of that. That's why. But it's like, yeah, like sometimes I will watch South Park just for fun. Sometimes I'll go and learn more about 9/11 to learn more about it. So
you never watched 9/11 for fun?
No.
Occasionally.
Well, I want to see people jumping from floors. They have a good rush of adrenaline just before they splat, even if it just lasts like 3 seconds.
Wow.
I mean, I have been watching memes for fun, and then all of a sudden they keep throwing in some 9/11 ones. I got to be honest, I've laughed at some, but it's not the actual footage that they're putting in there. Like, I think that would be very disturbing. It's more, they jazz up like the buildings or something.
Oh yeah. My fucking wife is a meme whore. There's one that she showed me a little while ago, like 2 French fries, and there was a fly on, like, it looked, the image was altered to look like the event. And it's just,
you should get.
Sadly, I've laughed at similar events or events like memes referencing it, but I can't say I've watched the footage for fun. That's not fun.
Yeah.
What if I told you that my ex, my in-law, was in Tower 2 and made it out on that day?
I'd say they're lucky as hell. My God, that sucks, man.
Yeah.
Not that they're alive, that they were in the tower in the first place. I'm sorry. I just want to.
Sorry, they made it. Don't worry, they got hit by a car the next day.
Wow.
Yeah. I one time watched a 9/11 video and it traumatized me. So the actual footage, and it traumatized me. So for a while, but yeah.
We lived it, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first 2 people to make jokes were 10 feet away when it happened.
Yeah. Remember how patriotic it got, though? Every fucking place was selling flags.
That was
dude. Nothing has felt as inclusive since that moment. Like, there was like a week after it where things seemed good. But
that was the other problem I had with Madam Web, because it takes place in 2003. And some woman steals people and crashes into buildings with a taxi, and it's like, in New York City, this would be a much bigger deal. They'd call this terrorism without.
You like the part where she takes the license plate off the taxi and drives over like the GW. I think she's in the Holland Tunnel. Like, they were fine with that circa 2003.
It was only 15 months later. Everything's fine.
There wasn't guys there with like fucking machine guns constantly, like, looking at every car, spot checking. Yeah,
the internet was in its infancy. Nobody noticed.
Yeah, fine. Fucking movie.
I want to see it more. I want to see it more.
You have to.
Indeed.
You can't even get it spoiled. Like, we could ruin it. It's just we wouldn't. I wouldn't do that. But you're gonna love it. I'm sorry, DC.
We're not trying to overhype it for you, but it's gonna be great. Sorry, DC. Please go.
Sorry, we're gonna get your channel banned now.
Because we're talking about Madam Web? No, it's not that controversial.
It's so violent.
It's not.
It's educational.
Yeah. People will learn from it. Don't talk about violence on YouTube. That's it.
When you finish watching Madam Web, Multi, just know that you've witnessed a documentary on how my brain works, and I'm trying to think of a story. That is exactly how it plays out.
Really? Wow. So I will know more about. I will know more about you. Okay.
It's scrambled. It's pretty scrambled.
Cannot wait for this amazing experience.
Oh, it's something. It's all the studio's fault, though. Just remember that, the studio.
I mean, you could blame it on her on the studio, but what's her face, Dakota Johnson? Is that it? Ooh. Dakota Johnson.
Yep.
Let's go with that.
Yeah.
The 50 Shades chick.
Yeah. Mrs. February.
Yeah. She was not present for that movie.
No.
She didn't give a fuck. And the only thing funnier than her performance in that movie is her performance on the road, like doing PR and stuff for Madam Web. It's hilarious. She has this whole thing. You'll have to look it up. She has this whole bit about they're like, can you name the 3 other Spider-Man movies? With Toby, what's his name? Not Tobey Maguire. The
That's
recent
one
ones.
Tobey Maguire. He's one.
No, not the actors. The names of the movie.
Like
Homecoming.
Something home. Far
And she
from home, long way home.
No,
she couldn't remember them.
Home on the road.
Home Alone.
So we don't talk about the Tom Holland trilogy.
So she's like, he's like, do you know him? Do you know him? She's like, yeah, sure. She's like, Spider-Man, he's coming. And she's like, and part 2, and she's like, Spider-Man
comes again.
He's coming back. He came back. But like, she's so adorable though, and like she doesn't have a clue. Like, she doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
But she handles it in such a cool way that you're like, okay, like she knows she's fucked. She's just funny about it. But that's like all her. What do you call it? Is it PR when you go for like a movie?
Yeah.
Like PR for the movie.
Yeah, like press junkets, whatever you want to call it.
Better
so
word.
You have to like YouTube all the ones of her on this. They're so fucking funny. She just doesn't care.
I think.
All right, I will be grabbing.
I think that she's a brilliant actress, and not that her parents are Melanie Griffith and Don Johnson. I don't think that at all. I don't think about a nepo baby situation one iota. Oh, that and she got nude for a trilogy.
Maybe the thing with her is she wanted to make a splash, so she wanted to look bad and stupid.
That was Daryl Hannah.
Maybe that was on purpose. Maybe that was really on purpose. Or maybe she really doesn't care. Maybe that's a mixture of both.
Money's a hell of a drug.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think she gives a particular fuck at the end of the day. I think she's just like, like she probably called her friend. She's like, oh my God, I'm doing a Marvel movie. It's Sony, but it's Marvel associated. And she's like, that's hysterical. These guys are so stupid.
I love that.
So
go on.
Oh no, I like her. I like her in that movie, How to Be Single. Have you guys seen that one?
Oh,
never heard of it.
I think I've seen that, Jim. I might have to look.
I'll tell you what, watch it. It's really fucking good, and it's really funny, and it's like, it's one of those like ensemble movies where they got a bunch of people, a bunch of storylines going on all at once, and it's just all about like different stages of the relationships and how to let things go, and it's actually like one of those like really good, beautiful movies. No violence.
And she is in
Does
that
that take
movie?
away from it?
That's surprising.
No.
Would it be better if there were violence?
It would have been better with violence.
Okay.
So I'm wondering if any of you
maybe you guys would have known about it if it had violence. How about that? Maybe it's a good movie without violence, but only 1 out of 5 have ever even fucking heard of it.
I'm partial to Sydney Sweeney, so if she was in it, maybe I would.
She's not. Her tits might be. I don't know.
They probably are.
Incredible. She deserves everything she has.
Yep.
Very talented.
Yep.
Just more of like that. More of those.
Yeah, I didn't like having to think of her as a teenager in Madam Web.
Yeah, that was a long.
Don't do that. Don't do that to me.
Yeah, I
can't.
They underutilized a couple of assets in that film.
And kit sets too.
I can't even say parts of the movie, right? Because I'd be fucking spoiling things.
Would it really?
It wouldn't. I don't think it would. But like the whole thing with and I'm gonna do it without spoiling it for you guys. You know the guy that's her partner that she drives the ambulance with?
Yeah, Adam Scott.
Yeah,
the rice guy.
It took me till about 15 minutes after the movie to understand the relevance of who he was, who his sister is.
What?
I swear to God.
They're subtle with it, but he enjoys the rice.
That sounds terrible.
I didn't get it.
Did you not laugh when that event with him and his sister happened and he said, "We'll call an ambulance, they'll be here soon"? Did that not just go Wait a minute.
Yeah. So
but he's the best version of that character ever committed to screen, right?
I'm like trying not. I'm trying not to spoil anything.
Okay.
At the same time,
so I guess you made a really good point to say that violence sells.
Oh,
really uplifts that movie.
Yeah, so
that's why we don't know about that one movie Dakota or whatever Sydney Winnie is in.
It makes Pepsi worth it
forever.
Yeah, so her first movie, I think it was, or maybe second, I don't know. It's a phenomenal movie, much better movie than Madam Web, but there's no violence. It's just about relationships and emotions. Nobody's ever heard of it. And everybody's fucking heard of Madam Web, and it sucks, and there's violence in it. So there you go.
Nobody's paying to see it because it tanked.
Yeah, I saw it. I saw it in in India.
My uncle
with an Indian audience.
Yeah, I went to international waters for that
one. So I guess that ends that part where we just talked about the topic, and we can go into the video reaction part, except if you guys would like to add more. I guess not.
Violence good.
Violence good.
Yes. Continue the violence.
So I will say that I tried to find videos about violence in media, and that was quite hard. I did find something, but I haven't really watched it.
Where did you look? Hard.
Maybe it's just because
did you look at my Twitter?
Our browser in Canada, like they are.
Did you type the word violence?
Our laws here. It's because of our laws here. Like the algorithm on YouTube is more effed up than everywhere else. Like not just YouTube, but like in websites in general, because of some of the stupid laws Trudeau passed. So that's why I find really weird results. So I still found something about the topic, but this is something like 6 or 7 years old. I haven't seen it. I've just seen many titles, and I was like, "Oh no, 3 years." Okay, so that's probably
pronounce that last name.
Is Bangkok?
No, where is it? Tama Kaizan.
You mean Tamakazon?
Oh yeah. Oh, Tamakazon. Oh yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Emmy Tamakazon. So what's the big fucking deal? Emmy Tamakazon.
Kaizan.
Common as John Smith, as far as I'm concerned. Fucking racist. What's wrong with you?
Apparently, this is the new normal. We are becoming desensitized to violence with Emmy Tamakazon.
Easy for you to say.
Tamakazon.
Tamakazon. Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Tamakazon. You can only say it properly if you yell it.
Tamakazon. Tamakazon.
Tamakazon.
This video has turned into let's laugh at her name.
Nakakadu.
No, we're just trying to pronounce it because we are ignorant. It's a learning stream.
So I guess
no mocking. The only ones that are being mocked are us and our inability to pronounce new words.
Highlighting our ignorance.
I mean, there was literally like early in the stream, it was like a 15 to 20 minute of just you guys traumatizing me with spider movies just because I'm arachnophobic. So, yeah, I think it's more than that, Gray.
I guess we can play, and if you guys want to stop it, just let me know.
Stop.
Imagine that you, a high school student, are sitting in English class.
Why would I be there?
So DC, you can relate this a lot more than us. So
are
you able to imagine yourself there?
I mean, I have, but yeah.
Okay. I'm already eyed by what she will say.
Well, believe it or not, I have taken English
on Twitter because it's a lot.
I'm learning.
I thought you were. Great, you disappoint me.
This is corpse. CORPSE corpse.
With your friends, when suddenly you hear gunshots outside of your classroom. Everything stands still for a moment, and then people are running and screaming, and you are being led to hide in a cupboard.
What's a cupboard?
A
cupboard, the thing behind you that is blurred out.
Yeah,
like a dresser or a closet, essentially.
Okay.
Is the big reveal going to be you're either in Gaza or Ukraine? Is that what we're going with this?
No, it was 6 years ago, so probably not.
It's 3 years ago, actually. It's more recent than what I thought.
Yeah, and I thought the big reveal would be like we're in Gray's stomach, like we're inside.
What the fuck?
Why would we be there?
It's not that violent there.
What the fuck did I just walk back into?
I don't know.
We're really not sure at this point.
I mean, I suppose it could have been a worse place for him to be.
TC is implying that Grace loves the Twitter feed.
I mean, what?
But I do eat up that Twitter, you know. I just love that feed. But Abased, essentially, you're in a classroom, an English classroom, if you will, and you hear gunfire outside, and now they're telling you to hide in the cupboard, and then we had to explain what a cupboard is to Multi.
Because
that's where we're at.
Oh, like the Indian in the cupboard.
Or closet, if you will. Well, that might have different connotations.
It's like a closet,
a storage nook, a hutch, if you will.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's
IKEA specializes in.
It's a space.
Yeah, it's a cover basically. It's a furniture, whatever.
I feel like your people build it. Like
your people.
You are now in the dark.
The French Canadians, they're known for it.
And trying not to make any sound because you know that your life is in danger. You then hear the shooter's footsteps approach the cupboard, and
so he's that close. So he's that close. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
Let's build up the tension there.
I would say you shouldn't stand on a big X because that usually marks the spot. You're targeting yourself.
Tricks on her because all these fucking kids are armed. So. Is this an American school?
Most likely, yeah.
Tommy's got a knife. Johnny's got a gat. He's coming along with a baseball bat.
And the teacher has a shotgun, so they shouldn't be afraid.
She's some kind of crazy.
On the trigger, ready to shoot anyone that they see. A flash of light as they open the cupboard door, and bang! Your friend next to you falls down on the ground. You cry out, grabbing at your dead friend's cold, lifeless flesh in desperation before the police comes to take you
How
away.
big is this cupboard?
Take out your trash cans.
I don't think cupboards are
Alexa just told me to take out
I think
the
at
trash.
best.
Tell Alexa to shut her mouth.
Yeah, she's a whore. All right.
Well, I don't think
there's some holes in this girl's story.
Yeah,
right?
why is there two people in the cupboard?
Yeah, and why is your friend cold? Like they just got blasted by a
when you got blasted, you take a few minutes to get cold, you know.
Yeah, the timeline seems a little messy.
Yeah, plus my body.
This is like I'm sorry. Go ahead.
My body is sometimes cold even during the summer, so I guess it's normal.
What?
I don't think it's normal, DC.
You eat a lot of ice cream?
No, I don't.
Hopefully not room temperature though. That might be a little lower than his healthy.
Remember in Star Wars with that Tom on the outside of him, he's all cold and shit, and they cut him open, and inside he's warm. Well, the friend just got opened like a Tom in the cupboard. So now,
can you please? They're Ton, not Tom.
Tom.
Wow.
Tom, coldy feet. Good old Tom warm belly. You know him.
Tom sperm in the guts.
Tom Luke up in.
But regardless, this is obviously a horrible situation we're in now. So
yeah, it's bloody, it's messy.
Did you know the internal temperature of a Tom?
Cold? Oh, sorry,
no
the Tauntaun. No, I'm not sure. I thought you meant our friend. I was going to say apparently cold.
They smell bad on the outside.
It's lukewarm.
And don't forget some detail. They died, so they will shit their pants and pee.
Gary. I wasn't expecting a, tauntaun sleeping bag dad joke. Yeah, that's great.
The stream has been won by
Does this
Patrick.
situation sound like
God, I've been holding on to that one for years.
Now imagine turning on the news with your dead friend and the gunshots
and the stinky smells
fresh in your mind, and realizing that your tragedy only to deserve to be on the news for 3 days before the media moved on.
What the fuck? 3 days is a lot.
Yeah, what?
Yeah, with this news cycle,
you're supposed to have.
I feel like one day. I feel like one day, and then everyone will forget about it.
Well, how long is respectful? Out of curiosity.
Yeah, I mean, 3 days. Like comparing 3 days to say 10 years. Yeah.
Is it the nightly news?
Maybe.
I mean, if we're talking morning, that could be offensive. But if we're talking like primetime news, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
We don't got time for that shit.
If it's America, I mean, the next school shooting has taken over. So on to the next one.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, how many are we going to just keep talking about? Like the whole news is just going to be reading names.
Today, this school got shot. Okay, next school, next thing.
Welcome to nightly.
With the other one.
Welcome to nightly news. Tommy, Billy, Jen, Amanda, Sammy,
and their parents.
I've
Realizing
done
that
with Jamal.
Oh,
I went around it out.
How inclusive.
Interesting.
It's not diverse enough. You need to splash more people of other
Miss
other regions.
Thamakayasan.
Yeah.
Your innocent friend's death for a fleeting.
Were they your friends? I mean, I remember in high school I didn't have that many friends.
I have none.
I didn't have cupboards in my high school.
I had both. I'm sorry, guys.
In high school? I didn't even use my locker.
Oh, that's what I was considering.
I can relate.
Is that?
I can relate.
Oh, my bad.
Metallic cupboard.
Ever since COVID,
ever since
COVID, I have not even used my locker. So yeah, and that's probably for the best.
Is that on purpose? Is that because of COVID or?
No, I do it on purpose because it's too much. Plus, it's just easier. Like going to your locker, getting the code. Yeah, it's just easier.
Okay.
So your locker's not next to the pretty girl then?
By
every
pretty
TV show.
By pretty girl, you mean the actual good girls, right?
No,
not necessarily. Just the one making out with some dude on your locker.
Television has taught me anything. It's you tend to have a locker right next to the pretty girl, and
Yeah, I've never had that happen. Which
so it's fake bullshit.
Which I mean is probably for the best because you
are you sure you haven't used your locker?
Yeah, but to be honest,
probably have a restraining order.
Poor Multi, you can't take this stream.
No, that's amazing. I like it. I said it earlier.
DC, I'm sorry. How old are you?
17.
Oh, you're a young man. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
That's the way I'm talking to you now.
Yeah. Though soon I'll be 18, so soon I'm gonna be a grown adult like you guys.
Yeah, you'll be a grown-ass man in a matter of moments.
And you'll be able to vote, I think.
When is that? When does that happen?
Oh, in June. June is when I become an adult. Yeah.
That's when I'm gonna kick your ass.
That's soon.
It's on.
I can't fight a minor.
But he's gonna bring a spider with him.
Yes. I will not use weapons or actual violence. Just my spider friends.
Great. So now I have to worry about Multi, Gray, and A-Base kicking my ass. That's nice.
Amount of time before they forgot about them. Realizing that there is no societal empathy to fill the empty void that is left in your community.
Well, what about that? I don't know.
To be fair,
talk about it, but like that kind of shit, if the more we talk about it, the most likely it will happen again. That's the other counter argument. So maybe it's also fine to not speak about that too much, because some people will see it as glorified praise or something like that, or a misunderstood hero or something. Maybe I'm crazy.
I don't know. Is talking about a tragedy praising it, though? Like, I think that's just so weird. So, like, we've got to nerf everything. We just can't talk about any tragedy that ever happened, ever. I don't know. I'm not sure that's healthy either.
Yeah, well, talking about it is fine, but if you overdo it, that's when an issue comes, I think.
Yeah.
That's more like my thought process behind my brief pause. And like, I feel like based on what she said, like, we should make it bigger and bigger because society makes it smaller. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Am I crazy?
Yeah, I mean, you are crazy.
Yeah, you're fucked up.
Okay.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay.
This scenario is a case for many mass shooting victims in today's society. After a few days, they go unnoticed, unappreciated, ignored. As human beings, we consider ourselves as compassionate creatures. But what happens when we become desensitized to violence and reach our empathy limit? Hi, my name is Emmy Tamakaison, and I am here to talk to you today.
So that was probably the closest one, I think.
To just pronouncing her name?
Yeah. We
Tamakaison, I was way off.
Oh wait, I wasn't paying attention. My kid texted me. Go back. Go back. I gotta hear it. Go back.
Malta,
what
I gotta say,
when we become desensitized to violence and reach our empathy limit? Hi, my name is Emmy Tamakaison.
No.
Tamakaison.
When I said Tamakaisian, I got my dyslexia in there.
And the Kardashians, maybe.
Multi, I guess I just love how you just pause it just for a person's last name and how you actually pronounce it. I love it. I'm just
I mean, in his defense, we did spend like a good 5-minute chunk talking about her name. Not mocking it, just mispronouncing it because we're all Neanderthals.
Yeah, I was screaming it.
Yeah, and it's content. So I was name right, content.
And I am here to talk to you today about the detrimental effects of desensitization to violent crime and our resulting compassion fatigue. So first, what is desensitization? Well, to be desensitized is to not experience an emotional response to something after repeated exposure to it. Sometimes this can be useful. For instance, without desensitization, medical students would be unable to study cadavers, and firemen would be unable to save people with charred body parts and melting faces. However, there is a dark side to this process, as there are two sides to every coin.
Didn't she just violently describe that, though? Like, I don't know. I think you could say, like, people with severe burn injuries, but instead she decided to say, like, melted faces. It's like, I don't know. I think she's violently describing it, and I think we've been desensitized to not, like, bat an eye when she said melted faces instead of, third-degree burn injuries to perhaps their facial region.
Great. Do you need therapy?
I like Dre approach.
Yes, desperately.
I like it. Thank you for sharing, Dre. I like it. It's amazing. I'm really thinking about it right now, to be honest. So yeah. Anything else to add, guys?
No.
Tamakaison.
I'd just like to add that I'm trying to order dinner.
Societal desensitization can result in the normalization.
What are you going to eat?
I haven't decided. I'm on Grub Uber Eats right now.
Okay.
Ooh, it's coming to you. That's awesome. And I just want to point out that so she said desensitization is a bad thing because it could lead to normalization. I want to point out that was my point. Like, I don't think desensitization is necessarily a bad thing. I don't think she does either, because she mentioned the melting faces, not just like third-degree burns. Instead, she went for that thing because she knows that we are desensitized to descriptions of violence, much like this, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But that normalization, making it so like this is what's going to happen, this is what should happen, that's definitely a problem. So she's going to explain normalization. But I just want to point out that, like, even though she went on about desensitization, she said it's only bad because it leads to normalization. So huzzah. You're welcome, fellas.
You're so fucking smart, Gray. I mean, I always say that.
Thank you. I mean, I didn't want to say it myself, but you know, thank you.
I did it for you. I always do. You're a smart person. You.
No, I'm just an asshole.
Really
but yeah, I just wanted to point out, like, she's basically making fun of desensitization, but saying normalization is the real problem. I think that's a good point. That's why I made it. So yeah.
Yeah, fair point. Fair point. I like it.
Of crises and issues. For instance, gun violence, along with baseball and apple pie, is all but a staple in the American society. When the Columbine High School shooting occurred in 1999, the statistic of the 13 murdered children sent waves of shock and sadness throughout the United States. Now, nearly 21 years later, this shooting is no longer a unique evil, as gun violence and school shootings now gets reported on a regular basis. In 2019 alone, there have been over 34,000 mass shooting casualties.
But I'm thinking of that, and it's not necessarily because we normalized such violence. It's more like we have more access to that information. But that goes back to what someone else has said earlier. I think I've said it also as well, and I think Charles mentioned that before. So we were basically,
you were smart.
Yeah, you were right.
Using the restroom?
One of your analysis is that we it's more normalized violence because we have more access to it. I don't know if that was you or that was Gray that mentioned it.
Do you agree with it?
Yeah,
that was
basically what I was saying.
So that's what I was saying about you being smart, man. You said the thing.
I can do things. Not like people think.
One of the things that's a little misleading about this, like, mass shooting thing, like, you'd think that means like a school shooting, or, you know, like somebody walks into like a mall or like a building or something. And sadly, a lot of it is like gang violence things, because like there's a drive-by and there's multiple people. I don't know, that all gets lumped into it, which sucks. I think there are ways that we could kind of make this seem a little less, I don't know, a little less like it's, you know, people going up in clock towers just shooting randomly, where this seems to be sometimes a little bit more regionally specific and location specific due to certain activity.
Well, Gray,
it's all the black people.
I was going to say gangs, but I don't know. It wouldn't be just that. Like, where I'm at, the gangs are two different ethnicities that don't happen to be black. So I don't know. But I'm in one of the flyover states where it seems
you don't
not
have
as diverse
people.
as many.
Right, I understand. You you brought up duels before, but wouldn't gang violence be like a modern day version of?
I think so.
Duels?
So it's like, where it gets weird is like, as a duel, you weren't just like shooting at your enemy like across the street and there would just be random people. I mean, like, yeah, gangland shootings might have been something like that, but, you know, duels were a little bit more classy. Generally, it was like, okay, we will go face to face or back to back or whatever, and then, you know, it's kind of more of a one-on-one thing. So it just sucks.
Drive-bys take talent, Gray. You're really kind of classy. That's quite a label you put there on dueling. But the point, what I was going to say is, in a duel or a one-on-one thing, that the collateral damage wasn't as big an issue as it is today. I think that's part of the issue.
Yeah, for sure. And then that's what makes it the mass shooting. Like, it generally is that collateral damage. So it sucks. I wish there was a way to kind of, I feel like some things are said in ways that make it a little bit more inflammatory, where there are more specific ways that we could talk about it. And then there might be certain solutions to the problem instead of just thinking.
There's a reason they only report little white girls being kidnapped, because that's
for sure.
That's the clicks.
Yeah. It's that. And again, it's kind of the way that violence in media is consumed. Like, that does get more clicks.
Yeah, that scares
I don't know that I have the answer for everything. I wish we didn't necessarily lump everything into one thing. Like, it used to be, like mass killings or whatever. It has now changed to like mass shootings. And, Yeah, it's definitely up way too much. I am not comfortable with it being that high, and I wish it were lower. But
how much more lower?
I wish there was more. Personally, I'd be okay if we're in the single digits, but I don't know. For this country with this many people, I'd be cool if we could get it down to like a single thousand. You know, I think we could reduce it by 33.
It's a hot take.
With this many guns,
it never happened.
Because
so I don't know what you're talking about.
Hey man, guns are they're not the problem. If we just give everyone a gun, then everyone will be afraid to use their gun because everybody else has a gun. I don't know. I'm thinking guns will solve this, but it's just a theory I'm throwing.
It's an American philosophy. Look, I get your point because like a lot of you are in the USA defend that stand, and I understand it. Like I've heard another coworker I used to have, he was telling me, what if the government goes after you? How can you defend yourself? I'm like,
okay, well, I don't think you can really stand up to them. But if your neighbors are trying to take your shit because everything's gone to shit, maybe you can kind of defend yourself. I don't know. I've got a few guns that I've inherited and stuff. I can tell you, I haven't killed anyone with them. You know, it would be awesome to have responsible gun ownership, and we don't necessarily have that. But if you outlaw them, I don't know that the people that currently are using them improperly, if they would be affected by that. So I don't know exactly what you do to stop this.
It's interesting that
the guns are here.
Yeah, it's interesting that it's a strictly American thing. Since being here in the UK, there's people that I talk to that sound like a typical American Republican. But then when they get to the gun issue, they think we're insane. And it's like, well, but that's not what I was expecting.
Yeah. And I get it, but I don't know. Yeah, it still is weird because there's but there's other types of violence that happen there, you know.
Like I think
stabbings are a lot higher there.
They throw acid,
which is like, I can honestly tell you, I've never.
Where's everybody getting all this acid?
Throw acid on me. You can make it yourself. I'll give you a recipe. It's sadly you can mix together household products and get something very caustic that will hurt someone very
bleach and orange
very easily.
That's it.
Because all this time I'm thinking like science lab grade acid. Like who's walking around with beakers and shit?
No, Bill Nye is a responsible scientist with his acid. Okay,
acid
he's not the one doing
it. People kill people.
It's true.
There was a guy that who just died recently in the water in the River Thames, and he had some friendly fire.
It's the River Tons.
Yeah, whatever. It's the River Ton. Well, anyway, he attacked people with acid, and he took some on the face of his own and died in water. I don't know what the hell. The police were chasing him, and he died.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds
and then I found $20.
Happy ending. Hey, congrats on the $20. I meant to tell you that earlier.
And he created a story, so I guess that's something.
He could have created a story by like saving a wounded puppy from a mall or something. That would have been a story too.
But how long would that have been a story?
Minutes.
Until the next story.
3 days. 4 days. 1 day more.
Yeah, if it's a golden retriever, then that gets him.
That's true.
That has some legs. That story.
It had them.
4 of them.
Yeah.
And 366 mass shootings in the United States. That's more mass shootings than there are days in the year.
Wait.
With this colossal.
Well, it's a big country.
Did you say 326?
366.
Oh, okay. All right. That is. It's a leap year, so it's tied.
Yeah, I mean it's a big country too. You got to think like there could be multiple locations.
Banging out like 6 a day.
East Coast, West Coast. We all have issues.
Don't go in the center because this is where we get more.
Yeah,
amount of tragedy.
No, it wasn't worth it. It was just a laugh line. Some people are making up for North Dakota because they're not holding their weight. That's for sure.
Somebody has.
It's true.
And here in Canada, I don't know the stats, but I don't think it's anywhere near that close.
You don't need to know about North Dakota. You're good.
Each incident receives a negligent amount of news coverage. We reach out.
So is she saying we should like stop talking about other stuff, and we should only cover like every day of shooting if she really ends at
I think it's
shooting
more of a
every
mass
day.
shooting channel
That would
type
make it
of
worse.
situation.
Yeah.
It would further desensitize if all you did was cover mass shootings. It would
Yeah,
further desensitize you.
I agree.
And the people who
That's-
don't know how to handle this information would strive to replicate it.
Because they're like, oh, they'll talk about me tomorrow.
Yeah. This is how I'll be famous.
Yeah.
And then the news drags our attention to something else.
And since we are into that, like, I've did so many like homework and shootings like that because of my new job I will start soon. And there was a statistic where I believe it's like 90 or 95% of the people that create these shooting, they have no escape plan, so they basically want to die. So it's really sad and tragic, but I mean, they take lives, and they needed help before that happened, and they didn't get proper help most of the time, because I don't think anybody could like suddenly wake up a morning and say, oh, let's delete a bunch of people. I don't think
sometimes that is an issue, and I think the shrugging of mental health issues is a problem. I think that's the case wherever I've been.
Yeah.
Denmark, the one dirty secret Denmark has is they have a lot of suicide. I think with what was the Florida one? The kid had a TikTok, and he said, tomorrow I'm going to unalive a bunch of people, and did. And he apparently had been checked in for a couple of mental health issues, and had a gun or two. And something has to have some sort of respect or fear. It can't just point at everything and go, it's their fault, it's their fault, it's their fault. Hey, guess what? Nothing's happening.
Yeah.
Based.
We move on, and this goes on and leads to normalization. According to a study done by the University of Wisconsin, repeated exposure to gun violence in the media results in the US public's emotional desensitization to this crisis. Using computer...
That makes sense. That kind of goes back to what we mentioned.
Thoughts and prayers.
Linguistic analysis, the researchers reported a notable decrease in the amount of disgust, anger, and sadness that the public felt towards similar consecutive school shootings. This shows how the repetition of gun violence, along with negligent media coverage, results in the normalization of the murder of school children. And it's not only gun violence.
I think that might be a little bit of a leap. Like,
yeah, I think there's also a leap.
I mean, the thing is, Gray, it's as sad as this, it's kind of true. Like,
yeah, but
it might be. I think you need to make that connection a little bit more. It's like, so there's
I'll
causation and correlation. Like when there's more ice cream sales, sadly, more people die. Does that mean that ice cream is killing people?
Obviously.
No. It happens to be generally warmer weather, so there's more shark attacks. There's more people dying of heat exhaustion. There's causation and there's correlation. The two things seem to be correlated in some way.
So the ice cream makes the sharks attack?
More people go in the water. It's warmer. You sell more ice cream. So like I've heard it broken down like a few different ways. There's a bunch of weird correlation facts that they're not necessarily causative or anything like that. And there is a connection, but it's not necessarily. There's a third element, like the weather tends to be the one. So I don't know. I would just hope that she's able to actually make that gap known as to, yes, this is definitely causation, because she's saying that this is normalizing and then it's creating more. I'm hoping she has some way to prove that.
Well, it's the one thing that I was going to push back on you, Gray, about everybody should have a gun. I don't think everybody should have a gun.
I don't think that's actually going to solve the issue. That was me being an asshole.
Okay.
No,
Well,
I wish everybody was responsible with guns, but again, like the 1 in a million is going to be completely off their rocker. Like they should never be in touch of any weapon. Like, I'm sure it's more than that. Probably shouldn't have a weapon. And then you can keep going more and more down the line. I honestly was saying that as a joke, but yeah, that's not going to solve our problem, but it is kind of a funny idea. Like, would somebody not do it because everybody else is ready to duel or whatever? Maybe, but I still think it would lead to duels.
Yeah, it kind of puts the exclamation point on. I was going to say, if all of us were in a room and we all had a gun, there wouldn't be violence. But if we introduce somebody who isn't stable, it
or someone that doesn't realize it can be dangerous, and when you take a life, it's the end.
Or is erratic and doesn't care whether or not they expire. There is a bit of a lack of respect for others when you're like, I don't care. Well, wait a minute. Just because you don't care about what happens here doesn't mean that you should be doing that to anybody else.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with any of that.
Yeah,
this is a good point. I like your pushback a lot.
That wasn't really
a wish I had a real solution for it. I'm not sure what it would be. It's clearly not give everyone a gun. But if only one person in that room has a gun, it's probably going to lean towards that person is now in charge. That person has the power. So I don't know. If guns exist, I don't know exactly what you do to kind of balance that situation.
Yeah, it's like a microcosm of the nuclear arms race. Like, we respect North Korea a hell of a lot more than we should because they got a nuke. And it's like, oh, okay.
For sure. And mutual assured destruction, it kind of works on that scale. But yeah, I agree with you. I don't think everyone should have a gun. So I don't know what the real solution is. Training. Yeah.
Thoughts and prayers.
A lot of help with therapy and such. Like, I feel like therapy should be more accessible and everywhere. Like, now people are like, oh, that's the Canadian speaking, it's all free there. No, that's a misconception people have. Like, here we do need to pay for therapy. Like, even like if you go at school and like there's psychologists over there, like when it's public, it's really hard and complicated here to get like mental help and such. And the moment you go private is the moment you pay. And it's understandable, but I think part of the issue is really like the hard access to therapists. And yeah, I think that could be a way, like, make it easier, the access to therapy.
There should be some sort of screening process. I mean, you don't have to prove that you can see to purchase a gun, which is just ridiculous. You don't have to prove
I didn't know that. Really? See. That's ridiculous.
Right. But if you buy a car, I hate because everybody does this.
Shouldn't my blind grandma have a shotgun if she needs to protect herself?
Second Amendment, baby.
Oh, wow.
It's a right.
That's wow. And it's surprising because look, I know I've one of my coworker has guns at this place, and it's rare, and like, I think he is well mentally, that guy, and like, I'm glad he is well mentally. Otherwise, like, I would be freaking scared to know he has a gun.
Yeah, my grandma's slipping a little bit, but I'm glad she's protected.
But yeah, there's like a certain hierarchy of rules. Just because something is in the Constitution or the Bill of Rights doesn't necessarily mean that everybody's free to have everything. You can get a car, get a license for a car, but you have to prove certain things that you're responsible enough to handle that responsibility. I mean, there's these NASCAR grade cars that go ridiculously fast, but they can't drive them on a street because they're so much more powerful than a regular car. So some of these military grade machine guns, if you want to try it, do it in a closed range or something. I don't know if people should have things that hold 200 rounds or whatever the hell. It just seems like a lot.
I get you. I'm being super pedantic on this, but technically you need to have like a special certificate to have a machine gun. Okay. You can still have like an AR or whatever, like it's still a high-powered rifle, but it's semi-automatic. That's where the whole bump stock thing came into. That like it's a weird accessory that allows it to fire much faster than normal.
Yeah.
But they made those illegal. So I don't know. But you're right. Like they've decided that's the line that like the actual automatic now, which is weird because I would think you'd be less accurate with an automatic than you would by actually having to pull the trigger each time.
Well, you don't have to be
Weird
accurate. You just
tangent.
spray.
Great. No. Continue, Multi.
According to CNN, there has been a rise in desensitization to all violent crime in our modern society. And this is partly due to the technological advancement that we have experienced over the past few decades. Now we have 24-hour news that exposes us to assault upon assault, murder upon murder, mass shooting upon mass shooting. It's like the card game Uno.
What?
What? Okay, so I gotta
think
say
it's a little bit more violent.
We we still add people shooting other people in the past.
Now he's got a point.
Yeah.
Uno is pretty cutthroat.
Yeah, plus
Yeah. Have you gotten a draw 4, man?
I mean, yeah, plus what even is the card of in Uno?
That's what
you
old
don't know
people did
Uno?
before the internet.
You don't
What?
know Uno, DC?
You're not
know
familiar
Uno?
with Uno. Do you know Dope?
I'm not familiar with it.
So that's a card game where you can like
With colors and numbers.
So it's Uno. Oh,
The
I
draw
thought it-
4, the wild
Yeah.
card,
yeah,
reverse.
I thought it was something else.
no.
It's number
the
1 in
card game.
Spanish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a player stacks the cards onto the pile, we can't linger too long on one card before turning our attention to another. Similarly,
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Okay.
with the small amount of media coverage for each incident, we can't fully empathize with one incident before.
But why should we fully empathize it? Because like I understand empathy is important so it doesn't happen, but sometimes some people will take it too far. Like maybe they will empathize with the person that made it instead of the victims, and maybe that kind of person that twists the game, maybe they will try to replicate it to be like that person.
I
So
think
what-
she would argue that that's the improper coverage. She didn't use that term exactly, but she was saying something like that. So I'm hoping she explains that and what the proper coverage should be and the proper time frame for it, because she kind of implied that 3 days wasn't good enough for the other one. So I'm hoping she tells us at the end and wraps this all up what proper media coverage should be.
And
But I
again,
think she would say that if you glorify it and somebody takes like empathy with the actual the perpetrator, I think she would say that that's improper media coverage or whatever.
and it's a really hard question because again, if there's that many shootout, how can we cover them all? We would never finish covering them all, you know.
One a day.
Like,
I mean,
Like-
we have. I mean,
So
we are.
she's
still
not
in
wrong on her
2012
stats. Like,
shootout.
well, so she's not wrong with her stats. There's that many mass shootings, but it's not like a school shooting every day. And that's what that stat kind of implies. You'd think like, oh my God, like one different school, like somewhere in America each day, more than one is happening. It's not necessarily that, but she's not wrong that like there are these many mass shootings, but some of them is gang violence. And because it's a perpetrator, I think it's more than 3 people. So also like if somebody takes out their entire family, if there's more than 3, I think it's a mass shooting. It's weird, but they kind of changed the way that they kept that data in like the last decade.
Plus, great when you talk about like not every day. I mean, in a way, it's not. How do I say this without sounding like a jerk? It's not really true because I mean, I don't know what's going on in say Florida or California. You never know. I mean, it's the same thing with abuse or bullying. You never know. I mean, it happens all over the world. There's no stop to it. It's like one person can be enduring this and the other can be enduring that. Different country, different continent, different state, different city. So I get where you're coming from, but it's not like.
So we do actually have the data though. So she's implying that it's like school shootings. So if you look up 2019 specifically, there were 24 such incidents in all of 2019. I'm not denying that there aren't these mass shootings. It's just a way that they're kind of presenting this data. It comes across like, oh my God, one school is getting shot up a day, where it's not. I mean, it's really sad. There were 24 different school shootings in the year of 2019. 40 people were killed. That really sucks.
Yeah.
Then COVID happened and that number dipped. So
yeah.
Epidemics, they have some positivity. Am I right?
Yeah, and they can also have
school's the problem, obviously.
Less people to shots, so let's not do it today. But I will bring another point. So you said that like that's every data, like gang on gang violence and such. And it's funny because
it could be that, it could be domestic, like self-deletion mixed with family deletion, like anything that there's more than 3 people that get shot.
Okay, so like here in Canada, it's heavily controlled the weapons and such. Like it's hard to have that.
Yeah,
that
but you guys had that whole bus beheading incident, even with guns locked up. Crazy people be doing crazy shit.
Yeah, like again, I was about to bring that here. We even despite gun control and such, there's still gang on gang shootouts. It's not as often as in other places, but it does happen, and it's a thing here. So even with gun control laws and such, it doesn't stop it. Because people will find weapons on black market and such, or in other ways. So yeah, it's not the only answer. There should be more answers. Black market is the cause. Maybe I'm hitting a nerve there, but how can we stop them? But good luck with that.
What if you legalized everything?
Yeah,
I'm being serious.
I think I don't know, man. Yeah, somebody could be walking down the street with an open carry rocket launcher or something. Like,
whoa!
I wouldn't mess with him. I bet that dude's not getting stabbed.
What drugs? I mean, you talked about the black market, Multi. What if drugs were taxed and legalized? You wouldn't have a bunch of these. The gangs wouldn't have a means to.
For sure.
This is
sadly
funny,
though,
Charles.
like you look at like Mexico, like they're having this weird avocado cartel, which is weird. I don't know. People are actually they're getting killed over avocados. Like it's just for some reason. Avocados, man. It's very strange.
And Charles, I will add more to this. It's funny because you bring something that should make sense, right? Because it does, but
I'm for legalized drugs, all of them.
And reality is different. And I'm with you. Like you see, here they legalized weed, marijuana, and such. Here in Canada, and
there's some places in the States.
They legalized it because they wanted to make money out of it.
Yeah.
So they opened up a bunch of stores that sells substance and such, and. You know what's funny? It's been like, I think 3 years, 2 years, maybe a bit longer than that. I lost track of it.
You guys got it late.
I don't remember exactly which date. It's been a few years now. I don't consume that kind of stuff, so I wouldn't know the exact date.
But it's legal.
Patrick,
doesn't that mean that you're supposed to?
Expert opinion, please, Patrick.
My point is more like. Now it's been a few years, it's taxed. And it's been a few years, there are stores that sell that. And it's funny because a lot of these stores, they close down now because they don't sell enough.
I'll tell you what the problem is. Let me just tell you. New Jersey, legalized pot. Most exciting fucking thing ever. There was lines around the buildings of these places. And then you got in there. And it was like, okay, here's an ounce, and it cost $582. Who the fuck is buying that? Who is buying $100 eighths? Like,
Gray, he's definitely buying them.
No,
I shop for deals, sir. But
so what happened was the black market died for like I don't know 6 months, And then all of a sudden,
came back.
It's like, hey, you can go to the dispensary and spend like $500 on outs, or you can buy one from me for $140 and I'll drop it off at your door.
The market dictates that shit too. Like you could pay $20 to go to the movies, or you can have my uncle show up at your house and presto.
Hey, he's a hell of a fella.
Fresh from the high seas.
Yeah, remember that?
Yeah, definitely a fella. Definitely, he's not just gonna beat us up for no reason, right?
Nah, he's a good fella. He's nice. Make sure listen to his casino things a few times.
These stores are closing down because the black market is cheaper, and they more have the quality the client wants because they're more in touch.
Do they deliver? That might be the thing.
I got a kid who delivers. We call
I
it
speak about black market and such right now, so I praise black market right now. But yeah, legalizing it's something is not always the answer, because obviously it's not. Like all of these stores that sell pot are dying.
But
it's only been a few years.
Some people don't mind paying for a controlled. Such bad use of word, controlled substance, something that they know synthetically is premium grade, right. Whereas if you buy it from the black market, you don't have the implied safety of going to a place to pick it up.
For sure, and you do pay a premium for that. You also pay a premium for knowing that you're not going to get in legal trouble because it comes in the legal package. You have that for sure. But I do want to say, like, this legalizing of things has just made the quality go through the roof across the entire country. Like, nobody knows what like stems and seeds are today, and that's a great thing. So, even the black market is a much better market.
Why is it the black market that is better?
God.
Well, I prefer it.
So, DC, if you ever want to try out, you know where to go.
The black market, sir.
Thank you for the information that I'll surely not do.
Hey, you guys always had the quality stuff up north. We had stuff that came from the south, if you will, that traveled in like gas tanks. That's not a thing anymore. That's awesome.
I just want to say on the record that I walked back into the contributing of the delinquency of the minor in this call.
Wow.
What?
Everybody's talking reefer talk to a 17-year-old.
No, we were talking hypothetical legalization and effects of it.
Don't worry.
History.
Don't worry. I've been through far worse conversations than this one. I mean, this was almost.
You should hear his take on heroin.
Dude,
I've been through far worse conversations. Like some of them, honestly, I think it would make this conversation look like it was just friends making jokes at the end of the day, which it kind of was, by the way, in case you didn't know.
It isn't.
It's already
he's already been delinquented.
Yeah, I've already been through enough of it to a point where it's like even this was almost nothing.
You're dark, man.
Yeah.
Edgy.
If you heard every take he has, man, that's the dark side, man.
I want to hear one of these dark takes. Take me to your dark side.
So what do you
wow
mean
me
multi, like, just so I can get a good description? Like,
man, on the fly I don't have example because my brain is fried.
Some of his movie takes are pretty dark.
Yeah, but I was more speaking about the people in your town and such.
Oh, about that dark takes. Yeah, if you keep down, my dark takes are nothing compared to theirs, because theirs, let's just say they think I'm a certain dictator. That's what I'm gonna say. And we all know who I'm talking about. Everybody views me as him nowadays in my town. Yeah.
Wow, Mussolini?
No, someone worse.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
But yeah.
So he basically told about people he knows that did crimes.
Yeah, pretty much. Which
he would have ratted you out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should stay away.
We wouldn't have stood a chance, Patrick.
You should stay away from those people.
Oh, I have, and I really
stay on the straight and narrow.
Yeah, that's why I'm staying with you guys as the right choice.
Jesus Christ.
Well, I don't know if we're straight or narrow, but fair enough.
We don't do substance. Oh, I don't.
No.
Gray does.
No, nothing.
I mean,
I do.
Yeah,
sober living. That's the life for me.
I
get high on life. I what can I say? I lift heavy weights. I like those endorphins. That's all I need.
Attention to another. And so, what your brain does to prevent you from stretching your emotional attention too thin is to desensitize yourself. You will start to experience compassion fatigue and grow indifferent to the suffering of others. According to Professor Bruce Harry of the University of Missouri School of Medicine, we become psychologically numb when exposed to a plethora of trauma and violence.
This is actually true because the more you see something, the less likely it will create a reaction in you.
Yeah.
That's why.
For sure. But when you think of like all the car crashes that happen on a daily basis in Canada, like, do you give the same amount of empathy to every single one? Would it be healthy to do that? Like if you just had like on the news, they listed every single car crash across the country. I don't know.
That would
I'm
be
not sure
crazy
what the solution is.
because here people don't know how to drive, and it's hilarious because it's so hard and complicated getting that damn license, yet nobody knows how to freaking drive. It's I will never understand that paradox.
Yeah, you people aren't right, but they. How is this woman trying to say that we should focus more on it or less on it? I'm
hoping she gives a solution. She hasn't quite given the answer yet, but she said how we're doing it is unhealthy.
Yeah, because I
think she is saying basically that we should talk more about it so we understand more how bad this is. I think this is what she tried to push, but I don't know how well she is able to sell it.
Because how would you stop it? You know, let's just say it is the problem. What are you going to do about it? It affects a certain number of people, or we're becoming desensitized as a whole. What are you going to do about it? The Overton window has shifted. You can't go back. It's the whole fucking point of it, you know?
Yeah. And I think if you have this many events of tragedy or trauma or whatever happening a day, I think you have a certain amount of empathy that you can give. And I think anything closer to you is probably going to register higher than just like, oh, this thing all the way across the country happened. Like, yeah, it sounds horrible. I don't know. Yeah. Me saying that, it's like, no, 9/11 totally affected me. I'm sure not nearly as much as it affected you guys living on the East Coast. But yeah. I mean, I feel like I still felt that. But if I was told like there's a car crash and, you know, like Florida, I don't know that I'm necessarily going to be like, oh my God, it's like, that sucks.
Yeah, I don't.
But I'm only going to give it so much empathy
on my street. Like,
I fair enough. If it takes out your cable, though.
Yeah, then it's a problem.
Yeah. Wow. Just wow.
Defense mechanism that all of us have. Our brains will try to create cognitive and emotional distance in order to keep us mentally healthy.
Wait.
Because, as one may say.
Sorry. Why I checked out for a second. Why does that brain have an umbrella? What can you?
So we only have so much empathy that we can give out, and we become desensitized to it. So she's saying that we somehow have cognitive distortions that alleviate the amount of empathy we feel towards these things. So I guess you're shielding yourself from the true tragedy that's happening on a daily basis. I'm hoping she's about to give us her solution, though, like how long we should ruminate on any given story and how we should do it responsibly.
It's incredible that somebody can figure all this out in 9 minutes and 45 seconds.
Oh, Ted's the man. He's very smart.
TEDx.
I keep waiting for
TEDx Youth.
I keep waiting for the anvil to drop on this chick ever since you said, like, maybe not a good idea to stand on the X.
Cartoons have primed
I'm just
you.
Waiting for like a boulder to just splat.
Nah, she's going to walk what appears to be a tunnel, but it's going to be a painted brick wall.
Yeah.
It's going to be a terrible.
More of that Looney Tunes violence in media.
Perfect.
Say, ignorance is bliss. However, a resulting lack of concern has detrimental effects.
If we had a lack of concern, why would she talk about that?
I don't understand the image.
Me neither.
It's a cycle. I don't know.
But my brain is fried, so maybe that's one thing.
The substances?
No, like I'm not made
to
wake up in the
expensive
morning.
pot.
I'm meant to wake up.
You're
like
the one
in
who
the
knows
evening.
that story about all the legalization. And everything. Okay. Anyway.
Towards the bigger picture. Desensitization does not help alleviate the crimes around us, nor does it make us truly more safe. Rather, our lack of interest stands as an obstacle that hinders resolution. There is a lack of response that results in unsolved crises. A vicious cycle of death and despair and pain is being perpetuated by our apathy as crime and more crime is happening every day, and nobody is emotionally invested enough to care about it.
Is it really true? Like,
No.
I mean,
well, now
so.
it's talking about crime as well. So it's like everyone who gets robbed, everyone who gets mugged across the entire country, we're supposed to give the exact same amount of empathy and emotionally deal with this crime.
For me, it really depends because, like I said earlier, if it's any of the people in my town, there's almost no way I'm going to feel empathy for any of them, apart from, say, a few. Yeah, cool. I wouldn't even feel empathy for any of them, or just for like a few at best. Same thing with here. If like someone's struggling, if it's anyone from my town, there's only like a few I would actually support. Anyone else, I would just laugh at them because I know it's almost
wow, that's cruel, man. Come on, it's your fellow man, though. If they're struggling, help them out if you can.
I mean, if I just explain you what they put me through, I think even you will agree that I would just laugh at them. Because seriously, you have no idea how much they've essentially...
How about you laugh that they're in the situation and then you help them out of it and be like, yeah. You were wrong.
Yeah,
and then walk away to that triumphant music while the sunset is, right in front of you.
So I gotta say something else. Maybe crime are rising because there's more people on Earth, and I think it's normal. Like, I mean, a lot of people are having kids, and there's already a lot of people, so it can only increase, So maybe it's not necessarily because we are not desensitized or whatever. Maybe it's just because there's more of us.
There's double standards with things too.
Yeah. And now my computer does weird things.
I think finances motivates people in different ways too.
Yeah,
for sure.
People are more desperate and sad today because so many people don't have the money to just have a decent life.
I do.
Yeah.
He has a based life.
You know what? I think it's just like
why are you wearing a grandmother sweater?
It's not a sweater. It's a fucking cardigan.
Whatever.
No, there's a huge distinction, and it is glorious, sir.
Yeah.
Excuse me, sorry.
It's got buttons. It's got pockets. It's not a sweater.
Because we've all seen it before.
I lose. Sorry.
And this has to stop.
Sorta.
We have to stop. It's time that we recalibrate as a society and push past our instincts to ignore traumatic events.
Yeah.
But how can we practice emotional endurance?
Finally.
Of headlines and crimes. Well, you can first acknowledge the humanity involved in these events. The critical state victims in the hospitals, those who suffer from PTSD, the mothers who are weeping over their dead children.
And the fathers.
When we see these incidents in the media,
they don't count.
We must see them as
they don't
more
exist.
than headlines.
They're all deadbeats.
Human stories.
They're human.
They killed the children.
And human suffering. We must personalize these.
Can you pause it for a second?
And realize that we could have been.
So she's not wrong, and there is that movie that we recently watched. I know I read it a few years ago and it really affected me, but I hadn't thought of like the parents of the actual perpetrators of the victim. But Lionel Shriver has this amazing book we need to talk about, Kevin. It was made into a film. But everyone is human involved in this situation. It is a tragedy. And I think people are looking into like what would even make this perpetrator do it. Is it nature? Is it nurture? That's kind of what that book is about. There's a lot of researchers who are interested in it. But yeah, I think, you have a limited amount of empathy, and I think it's going to go naturally to the victims, the family of the victims, not necessarily the family of the perpetrators, which is sad, but, it could be super devastating for them too. They are also human.
But to the film's credit, bow and arrow mass shootings have plummeted since that movie.
True.
So...
Yeah. That's a good thing. Based.
Okay. That's interesting. Okay. Nice input there.
In their shoes. But why is this important? Well, according to Professor Daniel Batson of the University of Kansas,
according to you,
empathy results in altruistic motivation and a desire to end the suffering of others, which is a catalyst for change. And this leads us on to our next point, that we must act upon this empathy and help these victims in every way that we can.
I don't want to be like
you can
I don't want to be like sexist or chauvinistic in any way here, but
I like how it starts.
I just can't help myself. I can't imagine what it's like to date this girl. Like,
I do have empathy for that human.
I mean,
that's real.
I mean, it's better to date her than any of the other quote unquote girls in my town. No,
Bro,
seriously.
Move elsewhere when you have the money.
Yeah, I will. Yeah.
Perhaps a bigger town.
Yeah.
No, that's even worse, Gray.
But there's plenty of fish out there in that proverbial sea or whatnot.
Yeah.
Bigger pond to fish in.
But I mean, more crappy people, more criminals. So it's
there's going to be more crappies, but you might also find yourself a rainbow trout in there. Go for it.
or get a dog.
And petition. You can talk about it on social media.
Boats.
But whatever
a zoo
you
like
do,
Gray.
Please do your part in supporting
I don't
these
recommend
victims
that.
and making sure that history does not repeat itself again. If enough people come together to promote a change, I assure you that we can make a difference.
You're wrong.
Take the March for Our Lives. In that movement, over 1 million young protesters came together to rally for stricter gun laws. This resulted in 26 states enacting 67 new gun laws, which is almost triple the amount of gun laws enacted in 2017.
And was that the end of gun violence?
Your voice matters.
I don't think so.
As we see more and more violence in the media every day, I want you all to come back to the school shooting scenario in which your tragedies go unnoticed, unappreciated, simply because they were unoriginal. We cannot live in a...
I think she misses a lot of things there.
Yeah, adulthood.
Yeah.
I would. Yeah, this is TEDx Youth, so she is kind of younger. She is referencing some data, but I don't know. I would hope that she would go into if these gun laws were effective, not just that they were passed.
Yeah,
there's an awful lot of bullshit gun laws that get passed that don't necessarily solve the crime. I would hope that there is an effective way to actually do that. I'm just not sure of how it is, but
it's very pie in the sky.
Yeah, I think that should be celebrated, not just the fact that there's new laws. Like, I don't know. The effectiveness seems to be the key.
Was
yeah, exactly.
For school shootings. That's.
I think when you study matters, sometimes you may understand that thing very well, but the catch is you're not always connected with reality and outside factors of what you're really looking at. Because what she suggests is let's talk about it and we will solve it, but isn't what she is doing right now, or isn't what we've been doing for years, and yet nothing has changed?
Any day now.
Yeah.
Any day now.
I mean, all we're saying is, give peace a chance. So it's not a lot.
Have you tried Pepsi?
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, peace doesn't really exist realistically. So Yeah.
So yeah, that was very interesting to have a talk about that. Anything else guys would like to add?
This is my favorite episode. Thank you for going first, Multi. Yeah, it's awesome to be here.
So you want me to go first more often? Perfect. I will. I will.
Wow.
Noted. You see, I take notes. My brain is fried, but I try my best.
Yeah, your brain is fried from all of this chaos and violence.
No, I'm just not used to wake up way too early, man. It's so bad for my health, even if that sounds weird. Anyhow,
I got you.
A-based. What do you have going on your end of the internet?
Hey, nothing, man. This is it.
Just being based.
Yeah. Fucking right here at my favorite episode. My favorite show with my favorite people. So
thank you a lot.
No place I'd rather be. I mean, DC, you're kind of a new friend, but
yeah,
but I like you too, pal. I'll save you from the spiders. But it's coming. They are coming for you.
What do you have go?
You should face your fear, though. I think that you should really
watch Arachnophobia. It's a great movie.
I think you should watch Arachnophobia. It's campy enough to where you won't be scared, and you know it's not real. But you know,
I remember DC saying one of his issues, or I should say, the only issue he had with the first Indiana Jones was the spider thing.
Yeah, which that's the only reason why, if you ask me to rank the Indiana Jones films, Raiders of the Lost Ark is actually my least favorite, just because of that. It's
okay, but what about the bug hole in Temple of Doom?
Yeah,
the hand bug hole. Willie has to put her hand in there.
I mean, a lot easier to swallow, but still a little creepy and disturbing. Same with the rats in Last Crusade, but all of them Mike was able to handle better than Raiders of the Lost Ark, which even then, just because I say that does not mean I hate the movie. I actually still enjoyed the film. I think it's a great film. It's just it's probably my least favorite out of the bunch because of that.
Yeah, but you like the fridge bomb one.
Well, at least it didn't have a spider, at the very least.
He's mentioning Kingdom Scroll something.
Yeah, I can't knock you for having bad taste. I have terrible taste.
He also liked Dial of Destiny.
I enjoyed Madam Web. It's like different than saying that it's good. It's like I enjoyed She-Hulk, but it wasn't good. It wasn't of a quality.
Fair enough. We've talked about this distinction before. Yeah. I get you. I think that's kind of my relationship with Velma. I'm not going to say it's objectively good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, you liked it.
DC, what do you have going on your end of the internet?
Well, I've been getting a lot of videos done, mostly Marvel's DC songs, and the good news is I think I've kind of started getting the idea of uploading, I don't know, I've been trying to get the idea of uploading 5 times a day.
God bless.
That's it?
Damn. You're taking it easy
great.
This week?
I don't know how you do it, bro.
It's easy, very easy.
I remember vacation.
Very
impressive, sir. That is awesome.
Yeah,
because good job, man.
Good for you.
I remember back when I'm doing YouTube now, back in 2021, I recorded 3 videos or 5 days and I uploaded them all in one day. Yeah, I want to get back to that to be more consistent. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to add something else, DC?
I think that's about it.
Okay, Charles, what do you have going on your end of the internet?
I'm pulling an all-night duty on streams. I'm going live with an odd Wednesday episode of Show Business, talking about 2024 and movies. And
we're having the show business guy.
Yeah. That's the only thing I'm known for. It's the only thing that I'm good at talking about. We're talking about South by Southwest and Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
That sounds fun. So you have seen the movie, I guess. Ghostbusters. No. Okay.
Somebody who will be joining us has.
Okay. Well, we will cover that.
I don't know.
I guess we'll find
surprise for me too. I too want to go back to uploading 3 or 4 videos a day, but want and do are very different.
Yeah, I feel you, man. I feel you. There's so many things I want to do, but I can't because I just don't have the time. 24
I need
hours
an AI
is not
me.
enough.
You know, it's funny, Charles. You actually inspired me to finish Last of Us 2 finally.
Nice.
Yeah, I finally finished it. Like, I started playing almost the exact same time as you, maybe like a day or two after, and I just finished it yesterday.
Why didn't you stream it? I would have watched.
I don't know, because
man, based gaming.
Because it's so odd, it would never be consistent. It's like, oh, I can play for 6. I can play for 6 hours, and then I can play for 15 minutes.
Yeah, so
that's awesome.
Maybe next game, next one I find.
So, Gray, what do you have going on your end of the internet?
I've been working on the same damn video for months now. It should be released soon. I'm hoping to finish it this weekend. Got the interviews I need, but yeah, the fact that I've dragged my feet on it this long meant I was able to put in a different section with a different comedian who also has to talk about apologies. So hopefully there's a new video out at the beginning of next week. I'm hoping for Monday. But yeah, check out That Darn Kiddo's stream, The Thinkers, every Thursday morning. You know, it's a great time. I think almost everybody here except for DC has been on there at one point. So yeah, if you liked anything that happened here except for DC, go over there. And DC, you'll be on there one day, I'm sure.
Yeah, I plan to be at least on your channel. I mean, recently I was on Mrs. 1776. I've been multi-user on this with Cole. Yeah. It was fun and chaotic like normal. Before apparently Mrs. or Cole decided to take the video out, which
that happens a lot. I'm sorry about the bird.
But yeah, I plan to be on more people's channels. So great. Next time you have one of those, send me a link.
Hell yeah, you will be getting one. Multi, what you got going on your channel, sir?
Right now, not much, but I still have my Naruto video in the making for like the last 6 months. It will finally be ready probably next month, I hope. So it's basically a power scaling thing, and I wanted to rewatch the entire anime and read again the entire manga because I do have all of the books, and I want to be as accurate as possible, even if it's really hard to be objective on that because there's a lot of interpretation you can do. This shall be mine, and that's why it took me so long. It's because, of course, we got 2 podcasts, and I got my job and bunch of things going on. So
excuses. You should be releasing 5 videos a day, sir.
This will be a very long video, I gotta say, because I like long format. You know, like I like spending lots of time on my screen and my computer. So with that being said, maybe gaming at some point if I get the time, but there's only 24 hours in a day.
No excuse.
Currently.
That's not enough. And that's maybe not that's maybe not internet related, but I started working on a Bible for a second volume of a novel I write because I'm a writer. I'm not now.
You're writing a Bible?
A Bible for the universe of a book I am planning on making.
The reboot.
So that will be sci-fi trailer, spy trailer-ish, like James Bond, but my own flavor on it.
Space Bond.
The Mid-Testament.
So basically my Bible is like the characters, what I plan on making with them, and the story and some of the lore I plan on having on it. So yeah, I like to be ready when I start really writing something. So yeah, that's just me being organized, well, pretending to be. Anyhow, this shall be the end, and thank you a lot, guys. Again, A-Base, thank you a lot, and Charles. Guys made this show. Yeah, guys made it.